Welcome to Midwest Paranormal Presents Paranormal Soup. I'm your host, Jason Bland, and tonight's guest is spiritual warrior himself, Bill Bean. He's been on the show several times. He will be joining us, but later in the show. Usually we have guests on after the first commercial break, but he's going to join us about a half an hour after that. So let's see, it'll be 11 p.m. Central, 12 a.m. Eastern. Bill will be joining us, talk about what he's been up to, and I'd love to get his thoughts on all the craziness going on in this world right now. But we got a lot of weird in the World Wide Web of Weird, and a segment I'd like to go call The World's Lost Its Goddamn Mind. We're going to talk about that. Nothing political. I don't want to get into that. Just about the general sense is that the world's falling apart. I've heard so many people tell me, they're like, are we living in end times, or they think we're living in end times? I don't know. We'll talk about that. We'll bring it up. I'll point out some of my examples of why I think the world's lost its damn mind. I think we've all seen it, but I'll give my little take on it. But like I said, there's a lot in the World Wide Web of Weird to get to, and we will open up the phone lines during that second half of the World Wide Web of Weird, where we talk about the world losing its damn mind. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. You know, are we living in end times? Why is the world losing its mind? Is there any hope? I'd like to believe so, hopefully, right? Or I mean, if it's in the world, let's just all pack it in, right? I don't know. There's a lot to get to, so let's go ahead and get rolling into the show. Welcome to another night of Paranormal Soup. As I said before, I'm your host, Jason Bland. Tonight's guest, Bill Bean, like I said, will be joining us around 11 p.m. Central, 12 a.m. Eastern. I think it's been about 4 or 5 months since we had Bill on the show. Excellent guest. Definitely somebody I've turned to a couple of times for some cases in my own paranormal group to handle things that I feel are demonic. I won't take them on. I'll call somebody like Bill Bean. So we'll get into him and his story tonight and what he's been up to. But my lovely co-host Jamie D is joining us. How you doing tonight, Jamie?
I'm doing well, thank you.
You look amazing on her nice iPhone. She's actually using her iPhone tonight. Brownouts in California, right? You said the power's been going kind of wonky there, or something's going on, right? Oh, yeah. That's California. But yeah, I tell you what, you look amazing on that iPhone. Now I'm jealous. I need a new iPhone.
Yeah, you do.
And from St. Augustine, Florida, we got Rob Autry himself. How you doing tonight, Rob?
I'm doing wonder-fabulous.
We got a lot to get in the World Wide Web of Weird. I think the second article is from Florida too. Well, it's actually not. I don't have an article. I'm trying to find out more information. I just saw this video today. It'll be the number 2 thing we're covering, but it's either in Bradenton or Fort Pierce, Florida. I don't know. I'm getting different sources on where this came from. It's either Dogman or yeah, it's either Dogman or Ghost. I was supposed to go to Bradenton, Florida. Dang it! And then the Corona happened. Yeah, that's my kind of luck. It's supposed to be our first family vacation, and the Corona happened. No Bradenton, Florida. And now I really want to go if there's like Dogman there, but I'll let you guys decide if it's Dogman or Ghost. So let's go ahead and roll into the World Wide Web of Weird. Tonight on the World Wide Web of Weird, I thought I'd start off with this one. I thought it was pretty viral. I've seen a lot of people sharing this articles or by a number of different sources. This one I got from Unexplained Mysteries. New structures detected deep beneath the earth. Is it the reptilians in their underground bases, the Greys? I don't know. We're going to read, but my mind wonders. For those listening on the Paranormal Soup radio network, we are a webcast. You can watch us on Facebook and YouTube, where we do show videos and pictures and whatever. But you can listen if you want me. I try to narrate as best as possible. But this first one here from Unexplained Mysteries. New structures detected deep beneath the Earth. Scientists studying our planet interior have found previously unknown structures beneath the surface. Situated deep beneath the Pacific Ocean between Earth's core and the mantle, these mysterious structures were discovered by analyzing the seismic data from earthquakes. When an earthquake occurs, the seismic waves produce travel sound thousands of miles away. That's weird. Seismic waves travel thousands of miles. One of the most important aspects of these waves is their properties change when they pass through materials of different densities, temperatures, or compositions. Using a special seismometer, stations around the world, scientists are able to pick up and analyze properties of these waves to build up a picture of the planet's internal structure. This latest discovery, which was made by a geophysicist at the University of Maryland, focused on waves known as shear waves as they traveled beneath the Pacific Ocean basin. By looking at thousands of core mantle boundary echoes at once instead of focusing on a few at a time, it is usually done. As it's usually done, we have gotten a totally new perspective, said lead author Joanne Kim. This is showing us all that there are core mantle boundary region has lots of structures that can produce these echoes, and that was something we didn't realize before because we only had a narrow view. It's currently remains unclear exactly why these structures are composed of, or what these structures are composed of, excuse me. However, further analysis should help to improve our understanding of the Earth's interior, or maybe it's all the underground alien bases. They're hearing the echoes. Like everybody sharing it, and I see are all people in the alien stuff. A lot of them, it's like, yeah, you'd think what I'm thinking, alien bases. I've always been fascinated with like underground worlds and stuff, the inner Earth. I don't know if I believe it or not, but you hear all these stories through the years of ufology and conspiracy theories that there's all these heck, even the military underground bases that they say exist. Always forget the guy's name. Poor soul that got killed by the government, probably. The guy that he dug the underground bases, always forget his name, and then they like killed him probably. But you know, there's his thing saying that there's these underground alien bases in Dulce, you know, and there's people that report there's vast tunnel systems that take like huge bombers underground, and I mean, you know, do you think they probably picked that up with this system? Probably.
So
It's just geological. Okay, so what I was mentioning earlier, this one I don't have an article from, and I just saw this one today. It came out June 9th from a person calling himself Queen Kai. That's Kai, K-I-I, either from Bradenton, Florida, or Fort Pierce, Florida. Now, this video I got from Disclose Screen YouTube channel, and they say it's from Bradenton, Florida, which I could have gone to Bradenton, Florida. I really can. But in this, you're going to watch this guy's video. Now, I would love to know the story. And if anybody knows who this guy is, where his Facebook Live is, I'd love to know more. I'd love to talk to this guy. I really would, to find out what's going on in his town. Because it sounds like from comments I read that there is some kind of creature they spotted there. It sounds like he's seen something before, and this is what he's talking about in his Facebook Live. And then he sees something on the Facebook Live. That's, you know, you can't fake this stuff if it's on Facebook Live. I don't think. I mean, I don't know. It could be an illusion. Go ahead and play the video. Roll that footage.
And show y'all that the picture came from in the back part. Let me see if I can flip this picture around. That's the spot now. That's my backyard. I'm zooming in a little piece. This is the exact spot that I just.
Ooh.
Yep.
Hold on. Listen, dog. What in the
Yeah, to bleep this one out quite a bit. All right, let's watch again.
My backyard. I'm zooming in a little piece. This is the exact spot that I just.
I'm trying to get a screenshot of this, and there's another slowed down version they have in this video, but I could not get a screenshot.
I'm zooming in a little piece.
What is
This
this?
is the exact spot that I just.
Yeah, you almost see like head, shoulder, arms, but it's all like it's like he's slumped over. Does he go now? Wait, now go stop there and let's see. I want to see if he goes in front of or behind the pool or through it. Then you see that pull beam in the back. Let's go ahead and play.
Spot that I just.
Goes behind it.
Does he? Oh, it's so fast. It seems like he goes behind it. That'd be big. That means he would be big. Big.
Oh,
It almost has the long arms. Look at it. It almost has the long arms. Like. What is that, man? All right, there's a slow down version. Go ahead and let it go ahead because it's slowed down.
oh.
I love he just closes the doors as I'm done.
Yeah.
That is an honest reaction.
Yeah. Yeah.
Spot now. That's my backyard. I'm zooming in a little piece. This is the exact spot that I just. This is the exact spot that I just.
The fact he sees it with his own eyes, whatever it is. I don't know. I took something out of the World Wide Web Weird I felt was an to replace it with this because I'm like, what is this? What is this? What is this guy seeing? If anybody, I mean, Rob, you're in Florida, but anybody, my email is paranormalsoupjbland@gmail.com. That's paranormalsoupjbland@gmail.com. If you got any information on this one, I want to know more. Inquiring minds really, really want to know more about what the heck this guy's seeing.
Yeah, that would. Yeah, that would get your attention, man. That's weird.
People are going nuts. They're saying it's Dogman. I don't know. I don't know what that was. It seemed translucent somewhat to me.
Yeah, kind of did.
But then, our Dogman, transphasic, coming from one reality to another. I don't know. I don't know what this guy said. I would love to know what's been going on, why he was filming, what was going on. I want the story. I want to know more. I'm like so enthralled with this. If anybody can find Queen Kai, if that's how you say it, Queen, I'm sorry if I've got it wrong, but anybody can find Queen Kai and get him in touch with me. I want to know. I really want to talk to this guy.
Yeah.
All right. So we got crazy stuff going on in people's backyards, but there's crazy stuff going on in the ocean. During the coronavirus lockdown, I started playing a game called Stranded Deep. You're on a stranded island and deal with all these sea creatures and stuff. But it was way better than, it was like my relaxation because I'm not dealing with people. I'll take a shark or a giant squid any day. Well, sharks and squids are fighting too. There's division in the ocean. This comes from Unexplained Mysteries. Sharks show signs of scrap with giant squid. An oceanic white-tip shark was recently found with scarring consistent with a fight with a giant cephalopod, one of the largest, most elusive denizens of the deep. The giant squid, which can grow up to a whopping 43 feet long, is usually only seen when dead specimens wash up on the beaches. Sometimes, however, evidence of these gargantuan cephalopods, or I totally said that wrong, can be indirectly seen on other sea creatures, scars and marks that show telltale signs of an ill-fated deep-sea tussle. This example, latest one, oceanic white-tip shark spotted off the coast of Hawaii, was recently captured on camera by undersea photographer Darren Verbeek. Growing up to 7 feet long, the shark itself certainly no minnow. However, the presence of the extensive scarring along its flank, complete with a circular sucker-like patterns, indicated at some point it engaged in a deadly battle with a large tentacle creature that was more than a match for it. According to a new study, there are very few creatures in the region capable of leaving such marks as they are varieties of large squid. Given the elusiveness of these huge cephalopods, however, little is actually known about them. Their habitat is deep down in the darkest depths of the ocean, where mankind has seldom ventured. So yeah, you kind of see like the marks on that side, and that doesn't seem like anything ferocious. But I'm a big Jaws fan. I love the movies. But the guy who made the Jaws novel, great novel. Then he made a movie. He made another second sequel called The Beast about a giant squid. Not so good. Not so good. Squid's just not as fun as the shark. I don't know. But I think we found our squid. Article 4. He made it all the way to South Africa. I think this is a squid that might have tussled with him because he's dead. Beachgoers at St. Helena Bay were surprised to discover a giant cephalopod on the sand on Sunday morning. So I don't think the squid won. I don't know. It's not the same squid. I know. With a body measuring more than 7 feet in length and tentacles further 8 foot long a piece. The squid, which is estimated to weigh about 300 kilograms, was found washed up on the Britannia Bay beach in St. Helena Bay, Western Cape, where it soon attracted the attention of local beachgoers. In one video clip, which can be viewed, which I'm not showing, one man films the creature as his friend lies down on the sand next to him, demonstrating just how large its body is compared to a human adult. Imagine running across this thing in the ocean. No, it's I don't do the big ocean and big creatures. No, it's rare to catch such a close-up look at a giant squid because the species lives deep down in the ocean where it's rarely encountered, where studies, we just read that in the last article. It's unclear exactly how particular this individual ended up on the beach. It was sad because I could see it was dying. It was still pumping out ink, and I touched one of its tentacles, which sucked onto my hand, and I actually had to use some force to remove it. But yeah, so, the ocean, they're fighting in the ocean too. Division everywhere, right? Even the sea creatures are all mad at each other, killing each other, right? I don't know.
In the days, man.
In the days. And the sharks and the squids will start fighting. No, I don't know.
Dogs and cats living together.
Yeah. But
you could accept the fact that this city is headed
I play this clip on the show all the time because this is the world we're living in.
biblical. What he means is Old Testament, Mr. Mayor. Real wrath of God type stuff. Exactly. Fire and brimstone coming down from the skies. Rivers and seas boiling.
40 years of darkness, earthquakes, volcanoes.
The dead rising from the grave. Human sacrifice. Dogs and cats living together.
Well, maybe the squids have had enough and they're leaving the ocean, because this next one is a giant squid UFO filmed in the sky from Unexplained Mysteries. Weird squid, sky squid. I never thought I'd be saying sky squid. Weird sky squid UFO filmed from airliner. New video footage emerged showing a very strange aerial phenomenon moving through the clouds. While most UFO videos tend to show points of light, mysterious triangles, a flying disc, or ever now and again sightings emerge involving an object so peculiar that it almost defies description. Reportedly filmed from the window of a commercial airliner between Phoenix and Portland. The bizarre video clip was recorded in March 2019, but was only posted on YouTube a few days ago. It shows what appears to be smoke-like trails moving and weaving around in the air miles from anywhere before coming together to form a single long trail that covers quite a distance. This seems huge. Since being picked up online, the footage has attracted quite a bit of attention and has left social media users scrambling to come up with an explanation. Suggestions put forward have ranged from an interdimensional creature to the contrails of a single twin engine. That's not contrails. Aircraft, a shallow climb as it ascends. I'd see it does not look like contrails. You'll see in a second. The anomaly is certainly too high up to be a drone. It's difficult to make out any aircraft. Go ahead and play a footage. When it was going down and then it comes up and see that there, that's not contrails. I don't think contrails aren't going to move together.
Nope.
Like that. What the heck is that? That's pretty much the World Wide Web where we're just going, what the heck is that? Or what's wrong with people? That it's one of the two,
That's pretty
That
weird.
is weird. All right, we better move on. Okay. Speaking of UFOs, I've been waiting to do this one. This one's from 2008, but it's from somebody famous. Don Most, or Donnie Most as I like to call him, has provided video of unidentified aerial object he captured on the night of June 22nd, 2008 in Agora Hills, California. Sections where camera movements caused the object to leave the frame have been cut. And they cut this from Coast to Coast AM. They cut it, but the video is still 10 minutes long. He records this scene for obviously longer than 10 minutes if they had to cut it, but it's 10 minutes long. I only got a clip of it. While the transitions have been inserted between segments, the object, how it appears and how it's displaying is pretty bizarre. Most say that they say, I don't know what they're trying to say here in this article. Okay. Anyways, this is Donnie Most.
Just a legend.
Go ahead and play it.
Look.
Yes, Donnie Most. It's just, I don't know. It could be anything, but for him to record it for longer than 10 minutes, because like I said, the video is 10 minutes long. They've cut out stuff. And this thing was flying. I mean, it could just be a helicopter circling his house this whole time in 2000. It's 2008. Remember, not what's going on now.
Actually, it's Don Most now.
Sorry, Don Most, not Donnie Most. Sorry. I'm waiting forever to play that clip. It's an inside joke with me and my wife, but no, I had a guest on. I wanted to have. I wish I had the clip then, but a guest. I can't remember who. Somebody in ufology was saying something about Don Most and some videos that were coming out, and I'm like, oh, well, here they are. I thought it was a guest on my show talking about it. But yeah, well, we got sea creatures fighting, Donnie Most releasing UFO footage, all that. We thought we I remember leading up to 2012 thinking, I really don't think anything's going to happen. The whole end of the world stuff. I've never been a big believer in the end of the world. I've always felt I'll see the end of civilization, but maybe not the end of the world, not the biblical cats and dogs fighting like Bill Murray said in Ghostbusters. But we got through 2012, right? Well, we might have been wrong. This has been going all over the place. Actually, the first person, the Mirror had it up. They took the whole article down, so I don't know why. Apocalypse Now. Mayan calendar was wrong, and world will end next week. Bizarre conspiracy theorist warns. The bizarre concept is based on an ancient calendar and a Mayan end of the world prediction. Most of the world started using the Gregorian calendar back in 1582. That's the calendar we know today. However, before this, people used different calendars to keep track of dates, including the Mayan and Julian calendars. The Gregorian calendar was introduced to try and better reflect the time it takes the Earth to orbit the sun. However, 11 days of time were said to be lost from the year that was once determined by the Julian calendar. Over time, those lost days add up, and now there's a conspiracy theory claiming that we should actually be in the year 2012. That'd just be fitting, right? Me and my wife had talked about this. We always felt like, even before 20, the whole political thing and what 2020 is going to turn out to be, me and my wife always felt like something was up with 2020. I didn't know about this, but maybe this is why. It's since deleted tweet. And why did he delete it? Scientist Pablo Taglioghian, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Following the Julian calendar, we were technically in 2012, and then he deleted the tweet. A number of those days lost in a year due to a shift in the Gregorian calendar is 11 days. For 268 years using the Gregorian calendar, 1752 to 2020 times 11 days equals 2,948 days. Divided by 365 days is about 8 years. Following this theory, June 21st, 2020 will actually be December 21st, 2012, a date you may recognize. Damn it, I thought we were through it. Come on, man. 2020, you suck.
Yep.
Like, it's like, you guys thought you were through 2012. Nope, you got the calendar wrong. Back in 2012, the date December 21st was proposed by some as the end of the world by conspiracy theorists who were using the Mayan calendar to try and make sense of the ancient prediction. NASA said the story started with claims that the Nibiru, or supposed planet discovered by the Sumerians, is headed towards Earth. Yeah, we've had a lot of that talk. This catastrophe was initially predicted in May 2003, but when nothing happened, the doomsday date was moved forward to December 2012 and likened to the end of one of the cycles in the ancient Mayan calendar at the winter solstice in 2012. Hence, the predicted doomsday date of December 21st, 2012. The space agency previously explained, for any claims of disaster or dramatic changes in 2012, where is the science? Where is the evidence? There is none. And for all the fiction assertions where they are made in the books, movies, documentaries, all over the internet, we cannot change the simple fact. Yeah, nothing happened in 2012, but man, stuff happened in 2020. If this happened back in 2012 when they were telling us all the world's going to end in 2012, of like the events that are happening this year, people would have lost their ever-loving minds. Yeah. They already are losing their ever-loving minds, but just put that on top of it. This kind of worries me a little bit. Is the world ending next week? Should I just go out and party?
Yeah, just don't worry about making it to work on time. And
should I just, should I not pay my bills?
Yeah.
Oh my God, we did this show years ago now. A couple years ago, the doomsday generation that we are, how we all been raised to believe the world's going to end, or all the doomsday specials and all this stuff that the media bombards us with their fear mongering and all that stuff. And I'm sorry, it's
Planet X,
Nibiru, and the conspiracy theorists and all this stuff. We've been raised to just think everything's going to end, and then, oh my God, like the world's coming to an end. Everything's, and boy, man, starting to wonder if they were right. With everything going on, I don't know what to think. I'm not a religious person, spiritual, not religious. I don't buy into any one religion. I don't buy into Armageddon in the Bible. Not to say I'm not interested in it and feel like there's something there, but I'm never one of those people that's like, the world's ending. I think civilization might collapse here. I think, everything we know as we known it for all of our lives is going to totally change. But I don't know about the world ending. I don't know. Maybe we'll find out next week if I'm wrong. How well this episode will age. It only has 1 week to age to find out.
Yeah. Will we be here next week?
Yeah, right. Hopefully there's a show next week.
Yeah,
Right. But that's it for the World Wide Web of Weird.
We'll do it
We
in our
are gonna-
bunker.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the millionaires are in their bunkers.
Yeah.
They don't have to worry about it. It's funny, though, that they just figure this out about the calendar thing, and it just comes out now. I'm sure somebody else figured it out a while ago. And, you know, I love back in 2012, all the people had the end of the world books and stuff like that. I'm like, why are you even bothering?
Yeah.
You know, my book comes out in 2013 about the end of the world in 2012.
Yeah.
There you go. Okay. It reminds me of that another great Ghostbuster clip from Ghostbusters 2. But that's it. Our guest, Bill Bean, is going to join us at 11 p.m. Central, 12 a.m. Eastern. We're going to come back and we're going to open up the phone lines for a little bit. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Is it the end of the world? Why are people losing their minds? That's basically the topic we're going to talk about. And I have some prime examples of why I think the world's losing its mind and needs to get it, you know what, together. But when we come back, we'll open up the phone lines. You call in, you share your perspective on it. I'd love to hear from my audience what they think about the state of the world right now. All right, guys, we'll be back after the short commercial break.
Join us every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time for Weird Wednesday, the live stream, with your hosts Jamie, the Living Dead Girl, and Rob, the Phantom, where we'll talk about all things paranormal, including zodiac, astrology, tarot card and oracle card readings, live ghost boxing and spirit communication, where we'll do voices from beyond the cold case files. So we hope you join us live on Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time. We hope to see you there. Bye-bye.
Bring life to the dead. 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 Enter the occult world of necromancy. You were brought here for one purpose: necromancy.
A ceremony dating back to the pre-Christian era. It's the art of reviving the dead. It requires involvement with evil spirits by the person performing the act.
The devil god brings life to the dead.
No, please. No, please, no.
And death to the living. Necromancy, starring Orson Welles and Pamela Franklin. From Cinerama releasing. In color, rated PG, parental guidance suggested.
The international chart-topping Haunted Horror of Haverfordwest has been described as terrifyingly real, a must-read, shocking and chilling brilliance, genuinely worrying, utterly frightening. Don't read before bed. Described as one of the spookiest writers out there, best-selling author G.L. Davies presents Haunted Horror of Haverfordwest, the true paranormal account that is shocking the world. Dare you enter? Dare you read? Haunted Horror of Haverfordwest is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, and wherever books are sold. Pray you never have to live there.
he is conducting an experiment into the combined effects of sensory deprivation and hallucinatory drugs. The subject of the experiment is himself, and the experiment is out of control. Ken Russell's Altered States, a film that must not be missed, is in the West End now. Altered States, Certificate X.
The night is alive. Join us and take a walk on the weird side when you tune in to the Kingdom of Nye, hosted by Heather Wade, the finest in late night talk. Listen live free weeknights starting at 9 p.m. Pacific time at thekingdomofnye.com, talkstreamlive.com, and the Paranormal Radio app. Wanna take a ride?
Do you like rock and roll? Do you enjoy a good story? Wish You Were Here, A Rock Fantasy, is a book inspired by Badfinger. It will not only entertain you, but intrigue you. What is it about? Well, Thomas is searching for his bandmate and friend in heaven, and in spirit has helped pen this story. He meets an old friend and famous new ones on his afterlife voyage. Midwest Book Review said, Wish You Were Here, A Rock Fantasy, is a book inspired by Badfinger. It's a quirky story by Joyce S. Isaacson and is unique, original, and deftly crafted metaphysical novel that showcases the author's genuine flair for character and narrative-driven entertainment that is simply riveting from first page to last. Wish You Were Here, A Rock Fantasy is now available on pennantpublication.com, Amazon.com in paperback and hardcover, and also on Kindle Unlimited. So check it out now. Wish You Were Here, A Rock Fantasy.
Switch to DCS ranging.
240, nominal to profile.
We're in the pipe. 5 by 5.
Tonight on Paranormal Soup, our guest is going to be Bill Bean, spiritual warrior himself, but he will not be joining us until the 11 p.m. Central Time or 12 a.m. Eastern. He does 2 shows, a Kev Baker Show on Sundays. I don't know if he had 2 today. I know he was on Kev Baker earlier, so give him some time to get his thoughts together, come on the show. It's been a few months since we had him on, and I'd love to get his perspective what's going on. But tonight, now, before we have him on, of course, we'll let you guys talk to him later if you want to call in, but I am opening up the phone lines. Just 2 lines, the 219-230-4444 line. That's 219-230-4444. Or you can call in on Skype ID 00JBland00. Call in. Tell me what your thoughts are on it's like COVID-19, murder hornets, protests and riots, and alien squid in the sky. The world is losing its mind. And I want to know what your thoughts are on this. Am I alone? I honestly love my children. They are the best things in the world. But before we didn't plan on having any children, there was a reason. Me and my wife always felt something was coming, a quickening, as Art would call it. And we always had our thoughts about 2020 being a bad year. Man, I hate being right. I hate being right. And so I want to hear what your thoughts on it. So let's go ahead and get into the show. And if you're just joining us because you're here for Bill Bean, he will be joining us in about an hour. He will join the show probably less than an hour, half an hour. He'll be joining us less than. We'll bring him on mid. I'll have to stop the phone lines and we'll bring him on. But yeah, Jamie, Rob, world losing its mind. I got some prime examples of that. I think the first example of this, and if you're calling in, I don't care who you're voting for. Don't tell me who to vote for. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. Yeah, this is not about the politics of it, because I think the politics are just another distraction to what's going on here. So this one is armed police in Seattle. I know everybody's heard about this. This Chaz community, is that what they call it? Chaz? Autonomous Zone. Armed police at Seattle Autonomous Zone checking IDs, extorting businesses, police say. People with guns are checking the identification of individuals trying to enter an area in Seattle run by far-left activists such as group as Antifa, however you say it. And the Seattle police stated, we have been hearing from community members that they have been subjected to barricades set up by protesters with some armed individuals running them as checkpoints to the neighborhood. While they have constitutionality protected right to bear arms, and while Washington is an open carry state, there's no legal right for those arms to be used to intimidate community members. Police officers have also heard from businesses and citizens being asked to pay a fee to operate in the area. So you start a new community, a new break off civilization. First thing you do is you build a border wall, and you put guys with guns checking IDs, and you start extorting the businesses around you. Way to go. Way to go.
Yep.
Oh my God. This is the first prime example the world's lost a stupid freaking mind. And you know, the whole George Floyd thing, I think it's awful. I'm a libertarian. If you just to get it off the chest where I stand, I don't like any party. I don't like the two major parties. But both sides have turned this into a political weapon against each other. And, you know, it's awful. You know, I'm against police brutality. I have a little bit to say something on this. I tried to be a cop. I was sworn officer in training. You know, I was sworn in as a police officer and was in training. And I decided I didn't want to. I saw how the police were being militarized. And that's part of why I became a libertarian. It kind of disgusted me. But at the same time, I still have family members that are cops. I still know plenty of police officers. And I knew the police officers in the Michigan City Police Department are good people. You know, there are good cops. I'm sorry. If that offends you, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. And that's the other problem this world's losing its mind is people are so easily freaking offended by everything.
Yeah. Seriously, man.
It's just, this is disgusting. You know, I mean, I'm all for protesting and I'm for ending qualified immunity for police. I think we should end the war on drugs. I think that's a big harm to minority communities. You know, I'm all for those things. I'm all for protesting, but you know, people are going to look back. This is history in the making right now. And it's our generation that's going to be judged by future generations. And they're going to look at this and see a bunch of people going into Walmart and Target and stealing stuff. What do you think they're going to think about this time? Do you really think it's going to be some inspirational protest? Or see, I'm wearing my Star Wars. This is one of the things that pissed me off the most. Yeah, this is Jason's little rant. See, I'm wearing my Star Wars Rebel. I saw people sharing stuff like, yeah. Well, you know, I saw people sharing Star Wars memes of the stormtroopers. Like, if you were for the rebels in Star Wars, then you should be for this. I'm like, no, okay. The rebels were like raiding the local cantina in Tatooine and burning it down to defy the Empire. They went and fought the Empire. Okay, you want an evil empire to fight or be rebels to? Look at China. I keep saying it, and I know people hate me for it. Some people hate me, say I'm like, you know, xenophobic or something. I love China. I love the culture. I don't like the government. And we need to be really scared of what they're doing. You know, what's going on there. You look at how those people are living. They don't have freedom of speech. They don't get to do anything. They had protests, but most of those people have been disappeared that organized that. You know, here you get to take over a whole 6 blocks of community. They're starving to death here.
What other country in the world can people act like they do here in our
right?
None.
We're trying to take over 6 blocks. You see how they deal with it. It wouldn't happen.
We're lucky. We're lucky. We're blessed. Whatever you want to call it. We're lucky we have the rights we do. And I get this, whatever this is. I mean, I understand their theory, but man, nobody thought this out.
No. Well, the other thing is they're saying we don't want police anymore. Disband the police. Let's get private police. There's a certain movie I'm not going to say, but this is what it sounds. You know, if you start getting private companies to run police departments, and it's you know, security companies, they don't want to. You know, where we're heading technology wise. This is what we're going to be dealing with, and we'll see who gets it first in the chat room. What movie this is from?
Please put down your weapon. You have 20 seconds to comply.
I think you'd better do what he says, Mr. Kenny.
You now have 15 seconds to comply. You are in direct violation of Penal Code 113, Section 9. You now have 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I am now authorizing physical force.
Wait a see. There we go. I looked away, but I think, yeah, Ryan got it there. Maybe somebody else got it first and I missed it. There you go. ED209. That's what we're going to get.
Yep.
You kitty, you bastards. No.
Yep.
Yes, RoboCop. And RoboCop showed us plenty of ways how that could go. You know, in that movie, I need to rewatch it. I've been wanting to rewatch the old cheesy RoboCop movie, but I love it.
Yep.
Just because all the police force is basically overworked, corrupt, or not corrupt, or but the whole police force is falling to crap, and a private company, OCCP, was it OCP or OCP or something like that? I remember that company in it, takes over, and they turn a dead cop into a cyborg, and then they start putting these giant killer robots on the street. That's what I think we're facing. You want to get rid of the cops? Well, you know what? The robot won't, definitely won't be racist, but if it has any problems or glitch or thinks you have a gun in your hand when you don't, you might be screwed.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead and play the ED209 clip here. So if anybody remembers, since Ryan got it, we got to show ED209. I had like a toy of this thing. I thought it was so cool, robotics. Now I'm so scared of it. I'm so scared. I'm going to walk one day down the street and I'm going to see this guy, tell me to put the gun down. I'm like, it's a banana.
It's coming.
Oh, no, I'm not going to play. But that's what we're facing. That is completely what we're facing here. There it is. There's my ED209. Yep. Imagine walking down your street. You don't have to worry about racist cops anymore, right? The robots will take care of us. They'll come. That's what we're facing. I mean, cops are here for a reason. And there's definitely a lot of things that need to be changed. A lot of things. Yep. But let's not just throw out the whole thing, throw out the whole kitchen sink. I mean, let's not do it. World's lost its damn mind. Speaking of that, we can on the next scene here before I won't run out of time because, like I said, Bill Bean will be coming on. I worry about China. Well, I still worry about Russia too. And no surprise, we got turmoil in the U.S. What does Russia always do? They got to take a nuclear bomber and come flying towards our border just to make things even worse. This is from Fox News, fake news. Russian nuclear-capable bombers intercepted by aircraft near Alaska. Russian nuclear-capable bombers were intercepted and escorted by U.S. fighter jets during a flight over neutral waters near Alaska. The first Russian formation consisted of two Tufu fighters. What is that? It's called Tu-95 bombers, accompanied by two Su-35 fighter jets and an A-50 airborne early warning control aircraft, which came within 20 nautical miles of Alaskan shores, according to NORAD. The second Russian formation consisted of two Nu-95 bombers supported by an A-50. So yeah, we can worry about that now. We got World War III of China or Russia or both. This is we have to get our crap together, people. Yeah. There are enemy forces out there that want to see the destruction of America. Completely do. I don't care what political side you're on. Face the fact that Russia and China are loving this right now. They are completely loving us ripping and tearing ourselves apart. And you damn straight, there are bots, there are things that they do to try to egg this on. Now, the biggest influence on it isn't Russia or China, really, though. It's our own damn media. I'm sorry, it is. It's our own damn media. Because they're like if you ever seen South Park when Cartman feeds this kid's parents to him in chili. It's like one of the worst episodes ever. And he's like, "Oh, your tears of sadness." Well, that's like the media, but it's our tears of fear. They feed off our fear. It's ratings. I don't know. It's the only way they can get our attention and make us think the world's going to end every day. And boy, they might not be wrong. They might not be wrong. But the world's so lost its mind. It's offended. Being a parent, I'm just blows my mind.
Yeah.
Popular cartoon Paw Patrol character Chase facing pressures from activists. Even the Chase from Paw Patrol now. Seriously. Some people are calling just some people. It's probably just a few freaking whack jobs. Okay. Do we have to bow and tow to every freaking whack job out there that's offended by something? Some people are calling for the Nickelodeon Network show Paw Patrol to be canceled or to eliminate the police dog character Chase. The controversy started following a tweet in which Paw Patrol said, in solidarity of Amplify Me, screw your hashtag, we'll be muting our content until June 7th to give access for Black voices to be heard so we can continue to listen and further our learning, whatever. But clearly, I mean, we're like rewriting history and oh my God, the world's lost its mind. That's a segment. Nobody's called in. You want to comment on it? Don't be afraid. 219 730-4444, Skype ID OOJBland00. I know nobody wants to talk about it. Everybody wants to just get away from it. But I just want to know people's thoughts. I'm your host here in the night, and I'd love to hear what you think of this world. Not political. I don't care who you're voting for. I honestly don't think any of that damn freaking matters who we have in office. Honestly, I think there's a bigger agenda way beyond all that going on. Last thing I have. Let's see here. Well, then you got coronavirus survival comes with a 1.1 million price tag for this poor soul. God, this guy gets the coronavirus, and when he gets out of the hospital, he's got a $1.1 million hospital bill.
And he's 71 years old.
It's cool because the world's going to end next week, so he ain't got any.
Right, he don't need to worry about that hospital bill. You know what makes me mad too? And again, I am not getting political because I hate both parties. But you had all these people that were so locked down. These governors and mayors were all so strict, locking everything down. And then as soon as all this protests happen, they are like, oh, no, we support the protests. Go out and protest. I'm like, well, wait a second. We just did, what would, you know? Yeah, and then they're all COVID-19 on the news again. I'm like, oh, it's an uptick. Well, you wonder why. You encourage these people to go out after you told us to stay in, and now no wonder there's going to be more people with COVID-19. You know,
it's all part of the plan.
Well, see, I don't do the conspiracy stuff on my show a lot. You know, I have people on, guests that get into it, but I don't. There's so much illusion and misdirection and look this way, look that way. You know, trust no one. I go by the X-Files model. Yeah, you can theorize, you can have conspiracy theories and think about this stuff and try to figure out what's going on, but you're not going to. There's a veil we can't see beyond of stuff happening in the shadows. Maybe nothing happening in the shadows. We don't know. You could be internet researcher number one. You still have no freaking clue what's going on in this world. I don't. I will never claim to know what the hell's going on in this world. You know, I have my theories. I have, but does it mean anything? Everybody's got an opinion. Everybody's got a theory, just like everybody's got an a-hole.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know. Nobody wants to call in. Y'all too afraid to talk about it. We're all settled down, just hoping the world doesn't end next week. Jamie, Rob, do you think the world's going to end June 21st?
Negative.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to end.
Somebody's world will end, but I don't think collectively.
Yeah. But I don't know where we're heading, man. I don't know where we're heading. I think humans are the worst thing on the planet.
I think humans as individuals are great people.
Yeah.
But as a collective, we're a bunch of jerks.
Yeah.
We're crazy. We're crazy as
we are. We're crazy.
That's why I've always been against, systems of government and that squash individuality, that want us all to be one big hive, because one big hive can make a lot of big problems. We need individuals. I'm not against protesting, like going out with your sign and saying we've had enough police brutality. I'm not one to believe that we are systemically racist as a country. I think that's a bunch of horse crap. I'm sorry, I do. There is racism in this country. There's bad cops that are racist. But I think what we have a bigger problem of, statistically, if you look at it, just doesn't come up to that. But what we do have a problem of is police brutality on the board. A police state is something I worry about. Living in an Orwellian society and what's going on. It just, they even try to take, 1984 down from certain books and stuff like that. They don't want people to, know, but you should go read 1984. You will be scared comparing it to what's going on now.
I get protesting and all that too, but man, you can't erase history. What is that? Who said that? You erase history, you're doomed to repeat it.
I'm not a big one for really caring about them taking down, Confederate statues and stuff like that. They lost. I don't care. Sorry if you're from the South. I'm sorry. I really don't care.
Don't be talking about the South.
Yeah, and I also don't think Southern people are racist. I don't think people, even if people don't want it taken down, I don't think that makes you racist.
Yeah.
It's just like I said. Stop letting the forces that be that the media, China, Russia, political sides. Don't let them control you. Don't let them make you get in here.
You take down a statue, and then that leads to another statue. That leads to another one. Then where does it go? Then you got people bitching about cartoon characters. I mean, where does it stop? You know, I mean,
they're not going to be comedians anymore. I mean, literally, how do comedians even survive in this nowadays? If you're a white comedian, forget about it. I'm sorry, it's the truth. And I'm sorry, I find the word white privilege just as racist as saying other racist words, really, honestly. I think it's pretty insulting. You know, a whole thing, everybody's insulting each other. Everybody's being a jerk to each other.
Makes me cringe.
One of the best books I ever read, it's a really small book by a Buddhist monk named Thich Nhat Hanh. I probably butchered that. Sorry, Thich. If that's how you say your name. I probably totally butchered. There's some Buddhist fans out there like my mom going, you said it wrong. Whatever. Great book called Peace is Every Step. If you want peace, if you want to live a peaceful life, no drama, none of this crap. You don't want 2020. The only thing you can do is give peace yourself. That's the only thing you can control of is what you do.
And how you react to things.
How you feel about stuff. That's the only thing you're in control of this world. Everything else going on is out of your hands. It's out of your hands. Like Jamie, you didn't know if you were going to be on the show. The internet was down. I'm like, don't stress about it. It's out of your hands. If it's out of your hands, what's the word? If the world's ending tomorrow, next week, June 21st, let's all party and forget about it because it's out of our hands.
Yep.
You can only do what you can do, which is your actions, how you choose to react to things and how you choose to act on things. And if you give peace and if you try to make every action, will this bring peace? Will this make things peaceful? If you make that decision, then you are doing the only thing you can to have peace in your life. You're making the only choices that will affect that. Anything else you do does not help that cause. Anything else you do is just railing against the wall. The forces that be you have no control of. So stop your fights with people on social media. You're not changing anybody's minds. I've made the mistake too. You're just not, just let go. Give peace. Just do what you can. Just be nice. Even when somebody, this is why I love, one thing I love about the South is when somebody's being a total jerk. Oh, bless your heart.
Bless your heart.
Bless your heart. Because that is a statement of peace. You're like, oh, I think you're a complete asshole, but I'm not going to get into it. Peace be with you. Live long and prosper, baby. Yeah. Just let it go. All you can do is just try to find a way to get along with others and be peaceful. Okay. You want to change the world. If everybody just decided to not give into this crazy stuff, the world would change the next day. If everybody just took a choice, but you can't make everybody make a choice. You can only be the one to do it. So it has to start with you. That's it. Peace is every step. Thich Nhat Hanh. Go read it. Small book. Doesn't even take a lot of time. Not even a religious perspective. I'm not telling you to go become a Buddhist. I'm just saying it's a nice perspective to have. I read it many years ago. Thank you, Mom.
And that kind of goes along the same lines of, right now it's this whole race thing. I mean, as long as people talk about it, as long as people argue about it, as long as people fight about it, it's going to be there,
What solutions are you offering? If the country's systemically racist, then it ain't changing. The America's racist, nothing's changing. I'm just saying, they don't offer solutions.
Yeah.
On both sides.
I mean, we all bleed the same color,
Yeah.
And you're talking about that book. Well, yeah, unless you're alien, but if people just treated each other with respect, there's a-holes everywhere and you're never getting rid of it, but for the most part,
those a-holes shouldn't whine about why their life is filled with drama.
Yeah.
Why everybody's bad because they're not making the choice to have a peaceful life.
Some people, thrive on drama and
yes,
I just don't get it.
Oh yeah. You see the show, What We Do in the Shadows? One awesome movie, but they made a TV show and, Colin in it, the one character, he's an energy vampire.
Yeah.
Go watch it, especially the episode recently where he's on social media. He's like trolling people on social media. Go watch that. There's so much to that character as an energy vampire that this is actually a real thing that they're capturing in What We Do in the Shadows of people that feed off this stuff. And I swear the media, they're like this giant monster that feeds on like fear. That's how we can scare people or get people angry.
Yeah.
Both or, I can feel your anger. That's Palpatine is the media right now.
Yeah.
And keeping all those little fires lit everywhere. When stuff starts to die down, there's like another little fire lit.
Again, like I said, all you can do if you want peace is to take the steps to it. if you want peace, you have to ask yourself, what am I doing to help make peace happen? Well,
You have to
only
live your
within-
life that way. You have to put it out that way.
Yeah. Well, again, I don't think next week the world ends, but like I said, we'll see how this ages. But the Mayan calendar, I don't know. I always wonder about the Mayan calendar deal. I have to admit, it's something me and my wife talked about over the years. Like, they had the date wrong. I think the date was wrong. My wife was saying that all the way up to 2012. She was like, they got the date wrong, I think. Because we talk about, there's got to be, it can't be exactly matched to our calendar. They probably screwed something up. And then this article's going out around the world just a week before. It's like, number of places have been sharing the article. I found it weird that the Mirror took the article down. I wonder why.
Yeah.
Because that's the first article I'd saved. The first time I saw it was the Mirror, and then they took it completely off. Maybe there's something wrong with it. Maybe it's not June 21st. But we'll find out. We'll go back. We'll live through June 21st, and then 2 years from now, like, no, the date was wrong again.
It was
have this revolving doomsday date. It works great for cults.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God! Just to keep us in fear. That's how the church did it 1,000 years ago. Hell is coming. We're doing it in society. It's the new religion. I don't know. It's just, I can't. This is why I said I didn't want to have children. I did not want to bring them up. And the craziness I saw happening, and boy, it's gone way further than I thought. I'm happy to have my children, but I'm scared.
Besides all the asteroids that have been blown by close and everything, people might be a little bit out there due to the fact we've got 6 planets about to be in retrograde. We're in shadow period. It's going to be in a retrograde the 18th this month, I believe. We're also in eclipse season. So we've already had our first one this month. We're coming up on, let's see, another lunar eclipse. Solar eclipse June 21st. The third eclipse is a lunar eclipse July 4th and 5th. So we have 6 weeks of eclipse season on top of it. So I think altogether that's going to cause people to be a little bit wonky. Emotions are going to be everywhere.
I don't have it on here. I wish I had the game over, man. Let the play right now. That's how I feel. I just game over, man. Game over. Because it's like literally we need to get somebody like Jeff Harmon has been on the show in years, an astrologer, to talk about this. But thank you, Jamie. I'd love to know what the astrologer says. Is this the ultimate? We're all screwed by astrology right now. I mean,
it's actually quite normal. It's just normal right now.
I saw a meme going around or something. It was like showing all the dates of like crazy stuff in human history that's happened, and it was all like, this was in retrograde and then this happened. I don't remember all this stuff, but
there was one just recently where it was like 28 years ago was the last. I don't remember the formation, but right now again, so this is coming up. I can't remember what phenomenon, how you say it, that was, but yeah. Every so many years we do repeat these things.
So, or I don't want to repeat 2020 ever again. I hope that whatever the repeat of it, I'm long and dead.
That's still been my favorite meme. I mentioned it before, but the one with in the DeLorean, Doc and Marty, and Doc's like, whatever you do, don't set it for 2020.
They should have made another Back to the Future, but I don't think they could explain how much they got wrong. We don't have flying cars or hoverboards, man. We got a lot of other really bad stuff. Marty McFly, you screwed up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm getting ready. I'll get Bill Bean on here on the phone line, but we won't take phone calls now. You lost your chance to call in. I'm really disappointed. Because we'll take phone calls a little bit later because we're going to get our guest here on, Bill Bean. For people that have seen Bill Bean, so you don't need a big introduction, and we've had him on several times before. Bill Bean is the spiritual warrior. He's a world-renowned exorcist and spiritual deliverance minister. He's also a life coach. You can find him on the Kev Baker Show and the Warrior Mode. I think those are both on Sundays. That's why we're bringing it on later. Bill's also the author of Dark Force, Delivered, 10 Steps to Victory, The Connection, Stranger Than Fiction, which I've read, which I love that book, and Dark Force Revisited. You also might be familiar with Bill Bean from the Haunted series. He was featured in a couple different episodes, and we've had Anita Lawrence on here before. He's helped. I've recommended him to my own clients in I call them clients, whatever cases that I have here, my Midwest Paranormal group. He's an amazing gentleman, and I'd like to bring him on now. You with us now, Bill Bean?
Yeah. Hi, Brother Jason. Thank you so much for having me back. I truly appreciate it.
Well, thank you for joining us. It's been a few months since we had you on, or more, I think. So kind of want to catch up. What's been going on in Bill Bean's universe besides the year 2020?
Well, it's been very, very busy. I shut my traveling down, obviously, because of the COVID-19 garbage, but doing a lot of Skype sessions. So I'm doing all my deliverances now currently via Skype. And it's the next best thing to being there. So I'm staying very, very busy. There's never any shortage of clients and people that need help. And doing a lot of interviews. I just completed my 7th book. And it's interestingly enough called The Seventh Book, a book of empowerment, knowledge and empowerment. And I've offered it for free download, Jason. So this one is I'm giving away for free.
Wow.
I feel that people really need this. Scott put it on my spirit to write the book.
You know,
and
that,
I did.
That says a lot for somebody to just write a whole book and they go, there you go. It's for free. That means something, Bill. That really does. I mean, that really does mean something to put a lot. I mean, I
appreciate it, brother.
There's a lot of work to write a book, and just to give it out for free, it means you have something to say.
Yeah, and God put it on me to do it. And I thought, well, when he puts it on my spirit to do something like that, I've got to obey that. So it was a blessing to have been able to sit down and put it together and write it. And it'll bring me great joy in knowing, and I'm already getting great feedback from people on it, that it is a blessing to them. And that's certainly what I want it to be. And I pray that people will get quite a bit out of it. And there's a lot of instruction in there, and there's a lot of historical information as well. And I did a complete overview of a short synopsis of every single book of the King James Bible. So there are 66 books in the King James Bible, and so I have 66 overview synopsis of each and every book.
So is this kind of like, your way of looking deeply into the Bible, or the meanings of the the verses? I mean, what is your take on this? What did God want you to write about this?
Yeah, first of all, it was about just trying to bring peace and comfort to people during these most challenging of times.
They need it.
So so that played a great part in it. And then I gave instruction through powerful prayers, which I've had in my other book, The Connection, and 10 Steps to Victory as well. But I added some prayers to this one that I didn't have in the other books. And loaded it up with inspirational, motivational quotes, scripture quotes, and also, the last part of the book is the little bit of historical information about the Bible and other Bibles, and then just did the synopsis for each and every book. And really, it's all about it, and the little subtitle wraps it all up there, a book of knowledge and empowerment. So I feel that we should always be striving and thirsting for knowledge, because knowledge is power. So, and God says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. So I think it's very important that we always continue to learn. None of us know it all, that's for sure. So there's always room for us to learn more. And so that's really, I guess it's the best way that I could describe it, as far as the reason for the book and the layout as well. I really believe that God put it on my spirit to be a teacher in this, and just to, I can't force anybody to do anything, nor do I want to, but I always want to be a blessing to others. And I pray every day of my life that God works through me to be a blessing to others. And so, yes, am I a spiritual warrior for God? Absolutely. But I'm every bit as much counselor and teacher as I am warrior for him as well.
Well, counsel me on this, because I'm trying to deal with 2020, Bill.
Oh boy!
And I've told you before, I'm not Christian. I'm agnostic, spiritual agnostic. I believe in God. Yeah. I have conversations with God in my head all the time. In my opinion, I feel it's God. That's that little inner voice in me. But I don't prescribe to any one religion. But I've always been.
You don't buy the official stories.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Everything's up for debate, in my opinion. Everything's questionable. Question reality. But
I agree.
I have to admit, it's looking pretty biblical lately. I will admit.
because these things have happened before, Jason. So here's my best guess. Did God tell me this? No. So this is speculation on my part, and this is my best way of interpreting or trying to understand life and how perhaps a little bit of life works anyway. I feel that God, Yahweh, is the creator of the universe. And in that creation, I think that perhaps to him and for him, life is like a wheel. And the wheel goes round and round and round, and history does repeat itself.
Yeah.
And all these things that are happening now have happened before. And so if we look back historically, we could see it. If we look back biblically, we could see it as well, that the common theme is that the people are taken over by a spirit of rebellion, and they go away from God and they forsake God, and they will either chase after other gods or themselves, which, the building up of self. It's good to love yourself, but not in an arrogant way. That's for sure. When a person is just absolutely puffed up and self-absorbed and arrogant and selfish, well, the devil's loving every second of that, and disaster will soon follow. And I find that in our society, not everybody, but a lot of people are starting to travel that way, in that path. And I think it's leading us to some really bad places.
Well, definitely heading to some bad places. Saying that we want to disband cops to me is going to a real bad place, because it's looking like Mad Max over in Seattle.
Yeah, because and again, what's going to happen there? And I pray not. I pray against it. And I was just talking about this earlier. I've heard rumors that some outlaw motorcycle gangs are on the way there.
I saw that. That's not going to be good.
Militia and white supremacist groups, that if they all come, there's going to be a terrible bloodbath and storm there. And I don't wish it. I don't want to see it happen.
No.
But boy, oh boy, if our leaders, and this is the most mystifying part of the whole thing, nobody is doing anything.
Nobody's stepping up.
From the White House down to the local governments, state, that nobody's doing anything. They're just allowing all this to happen. And so what's going to happen is if there is no intervention on the part of the president or the governors or the mayors or whatever, then this bloodbath is going to happen, and it is going to be just awful. I don't want to see it, but I see it coming unless there's some type of intervention.
Me too. There's innocent people living in that community who are forced into this too. I keep thinking about that are like, well, my business here, I can't just move it out of your Chaz. This whole thing is just crazy. But on the perspective of, we've talked on this show, of evil and dark forces. I had my shadow person experience. It taught me enough to know that there is real evil that is inhuman entities on the other side. How much are they at play in this?
Quite a bit, if you ask me. And I think, and again, what I'm about to say, I guess you could say it's purely speculation on my part, but I feel that it is it's valid, and it can be, if you really dig into it, could probably be verifiable. I think that there is a plot and a plan in place to not only destabilize America, but the world, because we're seeing this cropping up now in other countries. Of course, the devil is behind all of this. And I feel, Jason, that the devil has these underlings, which are the overlords to the power elite, and call them reptilians or whatever you want to call them. I think
something
they
not
are
human.
The overlords. Yeah, exactly. They're the overlords of the power elite. So they're taking the directives from these entities. And I think this is why we're seeing so much chaos currently, is because it is order out of chaos.
Right.
And this is what the devil loves, and he thrives off of, and his minions as well. So it's all about getting the populace on low frequency and low vibration. All life operates on frequency and vibration. And if we're on high, life is good and positive and we're moving forward. But if we're on low, life is a challenge, to say the least. And furthermore, when people are on low frequency, low vibration, they are susceptible to being taken over by demons and attacked and tormented and all those things. So this is where we are right now. And this is coming out of the fear-based, trauma-based way of thinking and living. And so really they have the populace right where they want them, in the palm of their hand. And then what's coming next? Well, I think ultimately, I think this all leads to the masses accepting the mark of the beast. I think that's what this whole virus, bioweapon thing, whatever you want to call it, is about. And certainly to further that, you know, in having this unrest, and it is just absolute lawlessness now. When you're talking about wanting to do away with the police departments, the law enforcement agencies, you're entering into an era of lawlessness, and the good citizens are going to have to arm themselves, or they're going to be in big trouble.
Or it's problem reaction solution, Bill. I have to intercede here. Part of me thinks this is problem reaction solution. They're going to present us with lawlessness, cops that can't do their job anymore. They'll make us think that, and then present us with a new solution. And I said my new solution, I don't know if you heard me earlier, was it's going to be robotic police.
Yeah.
It won't be racist, but they might have God hope they don't have a glitch.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, we are definitely headed that way. And furthermore, Jason, if they are, which I'm firmly convinced now that the end game of this is to get the masses to accept the mark of the beast. And once that happens, not only is the person cut off from God, it's severed, eternally severed, their relationship, then they become a part of the machine, of these systems. So it's a merging of man and machine transhumanism, which is a popular theme in today's movies, if you want to call them that. And so this is all a very clever plan to trick the masses. It's just like herds of cattle. I hate to say it this way, but really this is what it comes down to. These people, these power elites, they see people like us, you know, the regular people, as cattle.
Yeah.
So they have to figure out ways to herd the cattle and to manipulate them into situations to their advantage. And certainly the devil at this point in time, in my opinion, this is his end game, and he knows he doesn't have much time left before God says enough. And boy, oh boy, he's making a full court press now to really manipulate the masses and herd them and lead them to where he wants them to be, and that is accepting the mark of the beast. He already knows that he's defeated. He just wants to take as many people with him as possible before this all comes down.
It's like the cult leader gives the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, same thing.
Yep.
It's the same thing. And so this is what we're in now. And really what is just so terrible, it's all terrible, but what's even worse is that a lot of today's youth, they're brainwashed. They're absolutely brainwashed.
Oh, I see plenty of adults that are brainwashed, my friend.
Oh, I agree. No, I agree. But I remember when Obama first got in office, he said, we are going to capture the minds of the youth. And that's exactly what they did. And it's so, not all, but a large percentage of our youth, they're just absolutely taken over by this spirit. And it's very sad, and it's very tragic as well. So I always pray that God will speak through me to give a message and a blessing to somebody, and I certainly pray it for them.
You know, recently you're talking about we get the mark of the beast and the push of transhumanism that's happening in technology. There was a show this year, and I really liked it, but it's really scary. In a way, it was a comedy, but to me, it's the principle and the idea of it's kind of scary. It's called Upload. Have you seen it or heard of it?
No.
Okay, so the premise of this show, Upload, is that they can take people and put them when they die into a virtual environment, basically.
There you go.
Right, exactly. So like it becomes like a whole new economy, and people are choosing, like the main character really shouldn't have been uploaded. He probably would have lived from his injuries, but his girlfriend convinces him to do it. And he ends up in this thing. And of course it's like a Black Mirror episode. I mean, the guy can't keep up enough credits to keep himself in there. It's awful. It's awful.
Wow.
But makes
and
you.
This stuff is, we're not far from this, Jason, because when you look at people like Elon Musk and Gates and all that, they're
Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, same thing. They have all of these. I believe they already have this technology. It's just a matter of implementing and getting the masses to accept it.
Well, what was it? Wild Palms was a show they had, a mini series with John Belushi back in or Jim Belushi, sorry, Jim, back in the 90s, and that had the concept of them trying to make this artificial afterlife. And of course, there's some rich billionaire that's trying to put himself into the digital world. You know, this is
wow.
And I've always wondered that, you know, after seeing that mini series, you know, how many real billionaires are trying to do this? Well, now living in 2020, I found out there are plenty of rich billionaires that are trying to find ways to escape death, immortality, to put themselves. You hear Elon Musk talk about it, Jeff Bezos talk about it. These guys are all into transhumanism, where we become, you know, half robotic, half human, cyborgs or something.
And then it's lost. You know, once humanity goes in that direction, they're no longer human. They'll never be human again. It's just so it's lost. And this is why the connection will be severed with God, because the person enters into that by their choice, enters into that to where they become, really, in my opinion, they would become more machine than man, because now you're in that type of virtual environment. And, anything could happen at that point. I heard, I don't know if it was Elon Musk or Gates or one of them talking about how they wanted to capture the soul. You know, after the person dies, they can have them, just like you were saying, to where everything is in this, they're uploading. And as part of that, they wanted the soul as well. So when you hear people saying stuff like that, I mean, this is biblical.
Yeah, I mean, that's literally, you're making your own artificial afterlife. My opinion is they can't capture the soul. They can't do it.
Yeah, correct. I agree.
But Bill, as we've talked with previous guests, even the last guest we had last week, there's this idea of aliens having some control or ability to take souls.
Well, I don't believe it. And I think that, and I've heard that, but I don't believe it, because I think that God is the one who created us and created our souls. And if that's true, well, then he's in charge of our souls, and he's just not going to allow them. Even, I don't even believe that when a person sells their soul, that they lose their soul in that way, because it's not for sale. It's not for the devil to take or anyone else. So I firmly believe that, God is in control of that, and our souls as well. And now the person who sells their soul and who doesn't repent, perhaps God sends their soul to hell for that. But I just don't believe that the devil or aliens or anybody else can actually take our souls from us. They can't, because they'd have to rip it out of God's hand. And I find that very hard to believe.
Well, you know, I've always brought up this John Lear interview with Art Bell, where he talks about us being containers, and that the aliens are, you know, don't go to the light. You know, it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder, though. You know, if there is an ability out there to mess with the soul or put it in different bodies. You look at now I just lost the thought of the Philadelphia experiment stories, and I can't think of the guy's name. You know, he said he was taken out of his body and put in another body and reborn. You know, crazy stuff like that. You know, you wonder.
Jason, I hope it's not true. I hope not. You know, and I trust in God 1,000,000%. So I trust in Him, and I certainly believe that He will always make a way for us, and even in death, I think He will still have a covering as far as taking the person's soul. Now, again, depending on the way the person lived and their actions and what they did, perhaps, you know, it's not perhaps at all. I believe that some people are, you know, do go to heaven, and then others, for whatever reasons and choices they made, you know, unfortunately are sent to this place called hell, which is an never-ending torment. And boy, I wouldn't want anybody to go there, but there are people they're described as the tares in the Bible. So you have the wheat and the tares described in the Bible. And the tares, I believe, certainly they're wicked, but I also further believe that they are of the satanic seed line. So there's always been two seed lines on this planet. And this goes all the way back to the garden when Adam and Eve and the serpent had the interactions, and it wasn't about a piece of fruit. I think that Eve had sex with the devil.
It was her fruit.
Yes, and so Cain was the firstborn of the devil, and that's why he slew his brother Abel, because there was enmity there, hatred. And so after the act took place in the garden, God called them all together, and he said to the devil, because you have done this with the woman, I will create enmity between you and the woman. That's hatred. And I will create enmity, hatred between your seed and the woman's seed. So I believe that it's quite possible that a sexual act took place there. Cain was the firstborn son of the devil. Eve also had sex with her husband Adam, and Abel was the seed of Adam. And I think that's why Cain slew his brother, because there was hatred there, enmity.
Yeah, well, it's one of the reasons why, like, I believe Jesus Christ existed. I, believe there's something divine about him, but I've not been one to say that the Bible says this, and this is exactly what we should believe, because, like you're pointing out here, things have been edited, things have been changed. The full story is not there.
So.
Yeah.
Very much so. And in my new book, the 7th book, I talk a little bit about that, how a man by the name of William Tyndale, the Tyndale Bible, they killed him, and he was, Tyndale's version was, in my opinion, closer to the truth than what the King James version was. And he was killed. And, it's very, very sad, but the winners write the history books, and there are, people from, in my opinion, from the very beginning, that have wanted this type of control and manipulation over the masses, and they really have achieved it, in my opinion, certainly in my lifetime, throughout my lifetime, in seeing this, that these controllers have done a very good job of keeping the people down, keeping the people in the dark, and hurting the people. So this, for me, thank God I was born a leader, never a follower. So when the crowd goes one way, I go the other way.
That's usually how I've always been.
Yeah, and thank God for that. But I see today, Jason, how easily people are manipulated.
Oh my God.
And led, and I just scratch my head and I think, how can this be? This has got to be a person of intelligence. How can they be so misled?
Well, you speak with, I work a retail job. I speak with people every day. I meet great, good people every day. People would never do any of this stuff. It's like, where did these people come from out of the woodworks that go crazy and do all this stuff? But they're there. They're all out there.
Well, I think some of these people are paid agitators. I really do.
There's definitely that. There's definitely that.
And so their job is to disrupt and cause as much problem as possible. And then, if that's the case, you will have some people that will join in that because they're so passionate about what they think is the cause and the just and right cause, which nothing could be further from the truth, but they are manipulated into that thought process. So therefore they carry it out.
Well, yeah. And when you talk about manipulated, the media is what drives me nuts, because they're constantly manipulating. There's no truth, and you can't trust anybody. Back in the day, Heather Wade was talking about this on her show the other night I was listening to, about how the media was so different because we actually had a law in the books that basically made them be non-biased, basically made them give just the news. And then that law was erased and the news became a money industry. And and that's how it's all changed.
About ratings.
Yeah, and about ratings. It's like they're feeding off our fear because it's ratings.
Mm-hmm. Back when I was a kid, you had Walter Cronkite and people like that that gave you the news, but there was no
opinion,
sensationalism. There was no he just gave you the news, and others like him, they gave you the news. They didn't interject their personal beliefs or feelings into it. They weren't a star. They were someone that was a trusted source and a trusted voice to give you the daily news. And now, my goodness, everybody's a star. They're making millions of dollars, and they just think they're the most important thing going, and everybody is to follow their narrative or else, pretty much. I mean, it becomes a brainwash. And again, you have the masses that are worshiping some of these news people and lifting them up and like they're rock stars. And it's just again mind-boggling. I just shake my head.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, because, they're all just people, that are giving their damn
That's
opinion.
right.
They're not giving you any facts. They're giving you their agenda.
Which is wrong. They shouldn't have their opinion in it at all. They should just be straight and give you what they believe to be the latest news without any type of spin or opinion, personal feelings or opinions in that.
But you can't find one news agency that does that does it. Not one. I'm sorry, not one. you know,
and how sad is that?
It's really sad. And that's why I think we're partly in the state we're in. If people turned off their phones and didn't watch TV for a whole week, I think that everything would go back to freaking normal.
Yeah.
Well, Jason, I think that people are so brainwashed that if you turned a person's phone off or took their phone from them, they would literally, probably within an hour, be losing their mind. You're taking their whole life from them. If you did that, you would put them in a frenzy.
Well, just wait till China drops the EMP and then they just let us eat each other.
Right. So then, boy, oh boy, you're going to see a lot of people losing their minds and commit suicide and everything else. I mean, that's how sad this is. I mean, look at some of these people that, and I'm sure you've seen it just like I have. Some of these people going up to police officers and then go into this just shrieking, wailing, scream for no reason at all, like the police officer has done something mortal to them, just like a mortal wound or something. And it's mind-boggling, and it is part of this brainwash that these people are under, and it's a deception. It's a strong delusion, and they just go along with it, hook, line, and sinker.
Sadly, they do. We got to go to commercial break, Bill. But when we get back here, we're going to open up the phone lines too. If you want to discuss what me and Bill are talking about or give your own thoughts, go ahead and call in. Only phone lines open tonight is the 219-230-4444 or the Skype ID OOJBland00. Call in, join the conversation. But we'll be back after this short commercial break with our guest, spiritual warrior Bill Bean.
When Alex Gardner is asleep, he has an extraordinary gift. The government wants it, the scientists want it, but to keep it may cost him his life. It might be better if Alex didn't sleep at all, but he cannot resist entering the dreamscape. Can you? See Dreamscape in the West End and all over London now. Certificate 15. It takes an extraordinary adventurer to enter the dreamscape.
Do you wish for more paranormal and spiritual content? The Paranormal Chronicles magazine is a free digital magazine crammed with the very best in paranormal and spiritual articles and features. No sign-up, no subscription, just free reading and knowledge for you. Read today at www.paranormalchronicles.com/magazine.
This is an APAC studio presentation.
Hi, I'm Barry, owner-operator of Barry's Barometer Barn. Lately, I bet you've been lying awake at night asking yourself, how many barometers do I really need? Well, at Barry's Barometer Barn, we think you need more than one. Otherwise, we're going to go out of business. Remember, at Barry's Barometer Barn, we don't know the meaning of high-pressure sales. Come on, folks, buy another barometer. I'm trying to put my kids through college. I've got a family to support and a secret mistress who isn't cheap.
Visit Barry's Barometer Barn, 000 Storm Drive. Come on, folks, buy a barometer. I'm Barry's older brother, Larry, and every time one of you people walk past the store without coming in, Barry beats me.
This has been a presentation from Tim Morgan's APAC Studio. For more almost professional amateur comic studio content, visit the APAC YouTube channel. Search APAC 2002. That's APAC 2002 on YouTube.
Paranation Magazine is a new paranormal magazine based out of Denver, Colorado. Our goal isn't just to give you the best paranormal content out there, but to promote paranormal unity. We're doing this by giving everyone an opportunity to tell their stories and to share their experiences. For more information, follow us on Facebook at Paranation Magazine and soon, paranationmag.com.
For every earthling who's ever dreamed of adventures beyond the stars comes the astonishing story of one who made it, Alex Rogan.
You have been recruited by the Star League to defend the frontier against Sur and the Kodan Armada.
Of all the life forms in all the galaxies, one has been chosen to be the last starfighter. The Last Starfighter, with the film of the #1 hit Do They Know It's Christmas, the official Band-Aid story. In the West End and across London now, rated PG.
The night is alive. Join us and take a walk on the weird side when you tune in to the Kingdom of Nye, hosted by Heather Wade, the finest in late night talk. Listen live free weeknights starting at 9 p.m. Pacific time at thekingdomofnye.com, talkstreamlive.com, and the Paranormal Radio app. Wanna take a ride?
Join us every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time for Weird Wednesday, the live stream, with your hosts Jamie, the Living Dead Girl, and Rob, the Phantom, where we'll talk about all things paranormal, including zodiac, astrology, tarot card and oracle card readings, live ghost boxing and spirit communication, where we'll do voices from beyond the Cold Case Files. So we hope you join us live on Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time. We hope to see you there. Bye-bye.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from Talkstream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Vince, you said before you were waiting for a sign. What sign are you waiting for?
Gozer the Traveler. He will come in one of the pre-chosen forms. During the rectification of the Valdrani, the Traveler came as a large and moving torb. Then, during the third reconciliation of the last of the McKettrick supplicants, they chose a new form for him, that of a giant slore. Many Shubs and Zools knew what it was to be roasted in the depths of the slore that day, I can tell you.
Egon.
Tonight on the Paranormal Soup, our guest is Bill Bean. If you're just joining us, we're talking about the world, possible Armageddon, and how the world's lost its mind. And maybe there's probably evil forces behind it. Does it feel like that? Yeah, it feels like there's evil forces behind the craziness. I think there is. Have you ever run into somebody, and I'm not to say that you just felt they were evil, but you ever run into somebody you felt they were soulless? There are some people like that. You know, he talked about the wheats and the tares. I think some of those tares out there are just, they don't even have a soul. There is evil out there, people. Either be it supernatural or evil in people. There is, but there's also good. There's a lot of good in people. If we could focus on the good and make our, like I was saying earlier in the show, peace is every step. If you want peace, you got to take the steps for it. So the world just needs to chillax, chill out. Come listen to Paranormal Soup and chill out. But our guest is Bill Bean, and we are going to open up the phone lines again. The only 2 lines open tonight are the 219-230-4444. That's 219-230-4444. Or you can call in on Skype ID OOJBLANDOO. That's OOJBlandOO. That's the Skype ID. You can call in those 2 ways, and join the conversation. But let's go ahead and get back to our guest. You still there with me, Bill?
Still with you, brother.
All right. Yeah, I was thinking about this during the break. We were talking about the wheats and the tares. Me and my wife talked about. I've met people I felt like were soulless, like just nothing in their eyes, soulless.
There's lots of them among us, that's for sure.
What are they? I mean, what I don't know. There's just something there. It's like there's something missing. I saw you were on Kev Baker Show and you guys were talking about the son of Sam. That would be a prime example. Somebody I felt was soulless.
We've been doing a series of those types of topics because I'm connecting the dots. And so if you dig deep enough and you connect the dots, you will find the same players involved in the same things, and it's like a circle that just connects. And there are many among us, in which, again, I believe that they are of the satanic seed line. And if, in fact, they are, that's where that term bad seed comes from. The bad seed is a person that is born of the satanic seed line, and they have no compassion, they have no love, they have
empathy.
Nothing, no empathy, nothing. And so these people are among us, and they are very dangerous, and they have, again, no conscience whatsoever. They could kill somebody and then go make a sandwich, step right over them and make a sandwich and not even give it a second thought. And so in today's world, I feel like we're seeing it more and more because I feel like more and more of these types of people are multiplying on the earth.
I said we're breeding monsters. I've said that on the show.
Yeah.
My pessimistic view of what's going on in the world, I've always said we're breeding monsters.
Yeah, and it's a shame to have to say that, but I agree 100%. That's what's happening here. And then when you try to do what they're trying to do now, which is to make society lawless, you are inviting disaster. And so if you were to take the guns away from the people right now, do you think that's going to be it? You think the bad guys aren't going to find a way to get a hold of a gun? What's going to be different is the good and decent people won't be able to defend themselves or their home or their property. So the bad guy's always going to find a way to do evil, that's for sure. And it's just incredible. It seems like all the laws are geared towards the good and decent and honest and hardworking people. And
well, this is what drives me nuts about this is like I don't know if you remember that I tried to be a cop when I was in my early 20s, and I decided not to because one, my libertarian heart couldn't take the militarization of the police. I am against that. I don't want a police state. And one of the reasons I think we're in this state with the police is that we have governments that are asking police to do more than they should, or be involved in more than they should. I'm against the war on drugs. Well, that's a farce anyway. Right. Well, exactly. It is a farce.
We could have a show just on that.
Right. It's a mechanism of control. And that if there's anything that's racist, it is the war on drugs.
Yeah. And again, those that are in control of that whole deal are probably the biggest drug dealers on planet Earth. So.
Oh yes. Now conspiracy theories and all that, but there's some conspiracy theories that have a lot of evidence behind them, like the Arkansas Bush and Clinton connection to the Mina Air Force and drug running. Go look all that up. There's a lot there, and then you'll realize that the Democrat and Republican parties are a farce.
Correct, 100% correct. You are.
I knew somebody that flew.
I just wish more people would wake up and see it.
Bill, I knew somebody that flew for that. That's why I got aware of that in the 90s. Because I knew somebody actually flew for those drug runs.
I believe it, brother. And again, it's so sad because if you try to tell 8 out of 10 people that, they're not going to believe you. Their minds just can't go there. How sad is that?
Yeah, I know, but there's so much history, and there's so many things. Miss Jim Mars. He really nailed it down. Ruled by Secrecy. That book's old now, but it speaks to me today. About the people that are in control and what they're doing.
Yeah.
Follow the money. What's going on right now. Follow the money. Look who's paying. Who dropped off all the bricks at the riots? We need an investigation.
Yeah.
I mean, shouldn't there just be a criminal investigation into that? Inciting riot?
Won't be.
No, of course not.
There won't be.
Of course not.
And it's just like these big players that, and the biggest farce that's going today is this Q stuff, this QAnon stuff.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
It is, I just can't understand how intelligent people can follow along with that.
Oh, thank you, Bill.
True. You got to be kidding me. And to be saying, I saw a thing, and I spoke about this earlier with Kev, that they were saying that, who was it? Soros, I think it was. He's been taken into custody, and now this is about the second or third time I've heard this, from the good old Q source. Nobody is going to jail, okay?
Nope.
Because if George Soros or Hillary Clinton or one of these people go to jail, well, then the rest are going to go, including the president of the United
Bill, don't
States.
you know they're all
go.
under secret arrest. Tom Hanks and his wife, they're all under secret arrest. Europa and all that. It's a pipe dream, is what it is. It's selling false hope to people that have been crushed or by the mechanism. They think that there's a secret war and we're winning. No, we're not winning, and there is no, there is no. None of that is. I don't see the evidence for it, because I'm sorry, they've gotten a lot of stuff wrong. There's zero evidence.
Zero. And just like with the virus, well, that's really all just a cover because they're arresting all the pedophiles underground. Okay.
See, what I've always wondered, and like I said, I don't get to politics. I hate both sides, but I've always wondered about the QAnon thing. If it's just a way to appease a certain side of the a certain political ideology side, to appease them, to make them think everything's all right, people. Everything's all right. There's a secret war.
Well, if you think about this, back in the Obama years, you had a group of people that literally worshipped him. And it's the same thing this time. And part of that group is the QAnon group. So I think it was a very clever mind up to keep the people hoping and wishing and supporting. Trust the plan.
Trust the plan.
What plan?
What plan? Yeah.
What plan are we referring to?
I don't trust the plan unless you tell me the plan. If you don't tell me the whole plan, I don't trust the plan. And you don't provide evidence, I think your plan's a bunch of crap.
Exactly right. And they'll give out these dates, and on this date, this is going to happen, and this one's getting arrested. No, nobody's getting arrested. Nobody is going to jail. And people say, well, how come nobody does anything about that George Soros? Nobody is going to do anything about him because he is one of the biggest investors in the Kushner Group, okay?
Yep.
Nobody is going to do anything to George Soros or anybody of his kind because money rules everything, and these people are all together. There's no such thing as a Republican or a Democrat. These people are all in bed together. They serve one master, and that is money.
Yeah.
They only have one official color, and that's green.
Yep. It is, money is their god, obviously. And that's why I always loved about Jim Mars is follow the money. The money tells you everything you need to know. Who's doing what.
That's right.
Follow the money.
Exactly right. So the rest of this stuff is just made for TV fiction. It's WWE wrestling is what it is. And don't think that Vince McMahon doesn't have a hand in this as far as the planning stages and all that. I've said that for years.
Oh, yeah.
That,
it is such like a
mind like him.
Yes.
And choreograph.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God, Bill. Yes. Because I've been saying this is it's like, the movie Idiocracy has a like a wrestler figure as the president. And then I'm like, we have a president that was on the WWE. I'm like, and it feels very much like that, it's just so stupid. The whole thing's so stupid.
It's very disingenuous. And when you really look and you really study and you look at these people, you can see right through them what a mirage and how phony it is. There is no heartfelt intent behind these words. These are all words to appease and to pump up the crowd and to get them cheering and get them in a frenzy. And then there's no substance behind it.
And a lot of hypocrisy, too, I see. a complete hypocrisy. It's like, but you said this last week and now you're saying, I mean, it never ends. It never ends. It's just an endless cycle. And I always have to, what I say to people when it comes to this is like, how is it triggering you? What are they triggering you? That's what, wake up, because that's what they're using. Yeah. That's what they're getting you by. Stop letting it trigger you. Stop letting it trigger you.
Exactly right, Jason. If people could just take a step back and take a deep breath in and then look at it for what it really is, then they would have a different mindset and they wouldn't have their emotions involved. They're emotionally invested. So when they become that much emotionally invested, well, then they come spiritually and then physically invested as well.
Well, I see people like, on both sides dropping their morals to defend their chosen candidate or whatever. Like looking over things, I'm like, when did that start? When did we just, stop just, we know what they are, it's like they pick a side and they're going to defend it no matter what.
No matter what. And it's so, again, in my opinion, we, in today's world, it comes right back down to WWF, WWE wrestling, to where a good guy is pitted against a bad guy, the hero versus the villain. Well, guess what? I'm sorry to say, in reality and in this political world, they are all villains. There is no good guys. So
they're all actors.
Now people are,
wrestling's fake.
Yeah, they are actors. That's the joke. They're playing a part. And so I don't even believe your vote counts, Jason. I don't. I just don't. I think they predetermine who these people are and how they're going to be in there and for how long they're going to be in there.
It's a wag the dog.
Yeah, I just think the whole process is theater.
Yeah, and that's what I say to people. It's like anybody who says they know what's going on, QAnon, or anybody that says that they know what's going on. I'm like, there is a veil, and you're not the person behind that veil. You are not seeing what's going on the other side of that veil. That behind the curtain there's it's the curtain in the Wizard of Oz, and the wizard's back there pulling all the strings, and you're not going to see it. You're not going to be Dorothy with Toto and clicking your heels and going home on this one. We're not going to see it.
If a quote, unquote, regular person were to go behind that curtain and see that, well, then they wouldn't come back. They'd be dead. They would make sure that person wouldn't be coming back and speaking any truth to anybody else. So that'd be the end of them.
Or they lose their mind to it, or they realize that the truth is so horrible they could never speak it. We were talking about ufology, I think last week, about Jimmy Carter. He it sounded like Bush Sr. there sat him down and told him about UFOs, and he was crying, and he never talked about it again. There's some deep, dark secret that some of these people know, that just changes everything. Once they know, they're the pod people now. They're not human.
I believe that. I believe it 100%. And again, are some of these people in the high places made deals that they can't refuse, and deals, and again, this would be purely speculation on my part. Are they given a proposition that, hey, you either go along with what we're doing here, and if you go along, you're going to be very wealthy and powerful, and you won't have any problems. You'll even be above the law. But if you don't go along and comply, well, then we're going to kill your family first, make you watch, and then we're going to kill you. And so you'll be done. So again, are deals like this taking place? I certainly could believe it.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's just what we have. Why else would the people in the positions of power that they are in be a part of some of the most wicked and heinous, vile acts imaginable? There has to be a reason for this, and I feel that they not that they are upstanding in any way, shape, or form. However, even the person that is a lowly type of scumbag wouldn't even consider some of these things that these people do. So again, I feel that they are literally forced into it by these deals that they can't refuse.
Well, people are like, oh, this is some Christian stuff about the devil and blah, 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 blah. You know what? Bill's got a lot to back him up on this. When you go and watch about any of the new music videos by Billie Eilish or any of these people, I'm just saying there's so much like just in your face.
Garbage.
Yeah. And I'm not a Christian, people. I'm not some church lady. It's Satan. I'm not that kind of person, but I see it. I see it all the time. I see this stuff. I know the symbolism. I know a lot of it, and I see it. It's like right in your face if you really know.
It sure is. And I mean, even with the commercials now and the shows are coming out, as I saw a thing the other day, I think this is a show over in England right now, 666 ways to be a top chef. You have all of these demonic commercials, more and more each and every day that I see. And then I don't even watch TV or movies anymore. If I do watch TV, it would be a rerun from something, many years ago, like Andy Griffith or something like that. But
Happy Days.
I don't watch, but I do study. Yeah. But I do study clips like of, today's, like if I see something on YouTube or if I purposely punch up, a show that I've seen a commercial about and I feel that there's some kind of evil content in it, well, then I will punch it up and read about it, study about it. And I have to tell you that, and to the person out there that says, oh, this guy, he's one of those crazy Christians and he's talking all this stuff. Okay, that's fair enough. You could say whatever you want to say and you can feel however you want to feel. That's fine. But if what I'm saying is so far off and so untrue, then how come there seems to be such a concerted effort to implement all of these satanic type of things into the programming? If what I say is not true and this is not really happening, well, why is there an effort to do this?
Right. I just want to know why, like, our, President Obama's chief of staff is going off to a party with a satanic artist making edible, like, people displays and stuff like that.
Correct.
I mean, that's questionable to me.
Absolutely right.
These when stars put, basically giving the thumbs up to the Illuminati in their music videos and stuff like that, and saying, I mean, come on, what's going on here, people?
And again, for the people who would say this is just entertainment, you're crazy, I urge you to punch up the lyrics to some of these songs or watch the videos, because the videos will tell you, just like you mentioned that Billie Eilish or whatever her name is, you mention her, and her videos are absolutely openly satanic. And when you look at her lyrics, they are absolutely satanic. So there's another one called Poppy. She looks like an Ivanka Trump wannabe. She's, has that type of look. It sings vile and horrible and disgusting things. There's one, I couldn't even tell you the name of the song, but she's
Never
on
even heard
there.
of her, so that's how old I feel right now.
If you punch that into YouTube or whatever, Google, punch in Poppy, Poppy, and you'll see this individual. And so one of these clips that I clicked on, I probably got about 35 seconds into it. I couldn't watch anymore. She starts out, she looks like she's trying to look like Ivanka Trump with the blonde hair and a dress and all that stuff. And then all of a sudden, it starts into almost like this Brady Bunch type of medley. And then all of a sudden it goes into this hardcore, satanic, I don't even know what you would call it. It's like a thrash, not a thrash metal because the tempo's not fast, but just a very heavy satanic thing. And the guys were dressed up in S&M outfits with masks on and all this. And then all of a sudden she's covered in blood.
Yeah. It seems to be a lot of the imagery of covered in blood lately.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
So, I mean, this is openly satanic, Jason. For the person who's the most hardcore skeptic and doesn't believe in God or the Bible or whatever, you would still have to look at this and take pause and say, wait a minute, what is this about? Why are these people doing
What's the message she's trying to convey in this artistic form? The message is Satan. I think I got it.
And now you have a lot of these rappers that are openly singing about the devil, selling their souls, all these things. Pop stars too, plenty of them. They're singing all that kind of garbage as well. So again, I say that if there's nothing to this at all, then these people are sure going to a great effort to glorify the devil. That's all I can say.
Honestly, I think a lot of this goes back to the late 50s, early 60s with the CIA and
I agree.
Project Mockingbird and deciding we're going to take over Hollywood with this. We're going to use a cult.
MK Ultra, Mockingbird, all these things. Yes, I agree.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of these stars are being fed a bunch of horse manure that, like, I'm a Satanist and, all this stuff. And they believe in power, but they're actually just being played by the CIA and being controlled. I don't know. I really don't. Yeah. It's all speculation, people. I don't know. But there's something up. I mean, there's something up. You see it all the time. We do got somebody just calling in right now. Let me make sure he gets on the line here. I knew he would want to join this conversation. Hold on. All right. We should have him now. We got Zach on the line.
Hey, Jason, how's it going, man?
How's it going? I knew you had to join in on this. Come on, man.
Oh, absolutely. I'm hearing it, and now I got to join in, man. I mean, it's so interesting. I love everything. I love hearing everything that's going on. So I just have absolutely, Bill. It's good to talk to you again, man. And I have two questions for you.
Go ahead, Zach.
So my first question, man, is really, it goes back to the whole conversation of the current events that are going on. And one thought that's been coming to mind a lot is I take a look at both sides, on both the left end of the political spectrum and the right end of the political spectrum. And I've noticed just in my gut instinct, it goes back to what you said. It doesn't matter what position or what end of the spectrum that this pundit is on, or whatever it might be. It's all part of the same machine, the same bird, however you want to describe it. So
you better believe it.
My question to you is, because I've been seeing a lot of right-wing pundits talking about like George Floyd's criminal background and talking about how much of a terrible person he was in real life, however it may be. I already outlined my position already on Facebook. I got it out there. But my question to you is, these pundits, are they still a part of, I'm trying to figure out how to describe it.
The plan?
Are they actively a part of the plan, even though they're spewing out different dialogue?
All of them are. I think, and it's so sad, and it goes back to what Jason and I were talking about a little while ago. Again, in my days growing up as a kid, you'd have one commentator coming on there giving you the news, not his opinions, not his beliefs, and not his support or rally cry for this or that. Now these people are paid entertainers. They're pinheads. They are. They might not even believe what they're saying, but they are paid to say that garbage, whether they are on the right or on the left. They are all entertainers. I wouldn't believe anything that any of them said. I wouldn't trust any of them. And in my opinion, they're all following a script and a narrative.
Well, a lot of them repeat the talking points. They just keep repeating the talking points.
And it's all about shock value and ratings. And being this rock star that millions of people follow you, so you could say anything you want to say, and the people will hang on your every word.
As long as you fit their political idealism, or their that side. That's the side you'll defend your side no matter what. That's what I feel that's going on. What's your other question, Zach? Because I got other people trying to call in.
Okay, my second question, it goes back to a question I had asked you last time you were on, Bill, about people in Hollywood, and you said that 99. You said, I believe 99% of entertainers in Hollywood have sold their soul to get to the position where they're at. My question to you is, what are some ways that we can detect the 1% of people in Hollywood that are still, good, honest, sort of normal people that haven't sold their soul, but maybe they play the game so they could keep their career?
Yeah, and that could be a 0.1%, not 1%. It could be it could be 99.9 that and a 0.1 that haven't. And those people are the people that they're just bland. You notice that they're not in the headlines. They're not pushed to the gills. They're not down with the crowd per se. And they are people that are either entertainers or movie stars but I can't really, as I'm sitting here thinking about it, in the entertainment industry, there's only a couple people that come to my mind that I would be shocked if I heard that they sold their souls or they were an active member of the Illuminati. Somebody like Michael McDonald, and people along those lines, which there are very few. I've never heard or read a bad word about Michael McDonald. That's not to say that maybe I'm fooled. I don't know, but people like that, they're not in the headlines. They're very good at what they do. They are, great performers in the movies. Honestly, I can't think, certainly in today's entertainers or actors, there's not a one that I could say, oh, well, no, I don't think he's a part of that. But, you know, even of yesterday, I'm having a hard time, and I'm sure there are some, but today, I can't think of one movie star, certainly not one top movie star, that I would think is not sold out. You just can't. I mean, being in that type of thing, you just can't avoid it. I truly believe that. There's no way to escape it. So either you will comply and be that big star, or you won't, and you won't, period.
Awesome. A lot of cancel culture right now, too, to make sure they get rid of anybody who does go against the grain.
Yeah, I mean, it's so sad to say, but it would really require me to sit down and go over a list of names and look at that, and then based on the information that I've studied, to say, well, no, I don't believe that, you know, he or she is a part of that.
I try not to think about it. I am a big movie fan, and I watch a lot of TV shows and stuff because I went to school for film, so I do enjoy it. I love books and movies and stuff that I try not to think about a lot of that stuff. Well, thank you, Zach, for calling in.
Hey, God bless you, Zach.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Great questions.
God bless you too, Bill. Thank you for answering my questions. You have a good night, all right?
You too, brother.
All right, thanks, Zach. All right, we got another person on the line. You want to take another call here? I think they should come on.
Absolutely, brother.
We got 661 area code. Who do we got?
Hi, Jason. This is Chandra.
Hey, Chandra. Thanks for calling in.
Hey, so I just had a couple questions. Okay, so I wanted to address the part where he said that some people were born basically inherently evil. Wouldn't that contradict the saying of we are all God's children, we are all built in his image? Is that saying that God has an evil part to him? Because you can't have one without you can't have both. You know what I'm saying? I think we're all inherently good, but we all have the ability to be that way, and we have that freedom of choice.
Well, that's a very good question. Good point. I'm sorry to disagree with you on it because the devil is a creative being. Who was he created by? God, Yahweh. He created him, and he had a very high position in heaven. And he rebelled, and probably Yahweh knew he was going to rebel because he serves a purpose. And what purpose does he serve? God gave us free will. So there is an enemy to mankind based on our free will and our choices. And so in knowing that there is an adversary to mankind present, and God doesn't destroy him, why? God could destroy him at any second. He's a created being just like we are. However, he doesn't destroy him, and he won't destroy him because he serves a purpose, and that is based on man's free will. So it's unfortunate, and I hate to say what I said about some being born a bad seed, but if you do a lot of research and study into it, you'll see time and time again with people like that do these wicked and heinous acts. They were doing them since childhood, and they had no compassion whatsoever, no capacity to love or to feel empathy for others. It's as if there is a disconnect, and this is why I believe that there are two seed lines on this planet for that very reason.
You know, Chandra, what I think of...
I was going to say, do you believe that those people have souls in the same way that we do?
That is a good question. I would have to say yes. And I furthermore would think, and I truly don't know these answers because God has not told me. Unless God told me, then it's speculation on my part. But I do believe that they do have a soul. And I also believe that if a person like that had a sudden epiphany one day that they didn't want to be wicked like that anymore, because they too, I believe, have free will, even though they're born that way with seemingly no capacity for goodness or love. If somehow, some way, there was a glitch in their personality or spirit, whatever you want to call it, and someday they decided that they wanted to repent and were very sincere and wanted to repent their wickedness, then perhaps God may forgive them and have a place for them in his heavenly kingdom. But unless that were authentic forget it, because you're not going to con God, and God knows every hair on our head, so you're not going to con him. And yet, at the same time, if it were an authentic gesture towards God and serious repentance, then perhaps God would forgive and save that person.
Yeah, name me one serial killer that's really, you felt convinced they were repenting and they really they were.
Yeah, I mean, we just did a show earlier about Berkowitz,
Yeah.
and he's supposedly a born-again Christian and all that. I wouldn't believe that. I mean, I hope for his sake that he is, but I wouldn't put stock in that.
You know
and
why?
I certainly wouldn't.
You know why you don't put stock in it? Because listen to Berkowitz's interviews. He still has showed no remorse or sadness for what he did. Listen,
Yeah,
listen,
I mean,
read his words that they have in these interviews. He doesn't.
Exactly. So again, I hate to believe that about anybody. I love all people, and I've helped people from all walks of life, and will continue to do so.
But you do agree that even those people have the ability to be good.
If they
So
chose
that
to be,
they have the ability, they have the choice to do good instead of bad.
But I'll say this again: if this is a person that I would call bad seed, a person again that I would believe would be the satanic seed line, it's just not in them. It's just not in their nature. Not to say, again, because I believe God gave all of us free will, not to say that it is impossible. But let's just say, like I said about the entertainment industry, I would say 99.9% of individuals that I would believe are bad seeds are not going to repent. They're just not. It's not in them. I would pray that, that they would, but I just don't believe that it's in them. They don't have the capacity for goodness.
Do you think that there might be people that have a split seed, so that's partially good, partially bad, and they have to make that decision on a daily basis?
It's possible, but not probable, because usually, and look, all of us, including myself, I've made many mistakes in my life, and I could write a lengthy book on the mistakes I've made in life, and I thank God, praise God for loving me and forgiving me, but I had a real genuine repentance, getting on my knees and asking God to forgive me for any wrong that I did in my life, and I was sincere, and God knew I was sincere, and a major blessing, followed that. Anytime that I've ever done anything that I felt wasn't pleasing to God, I would get on my knees and pray, and God would bless me. A blessing would follow that. But these people, again, people that I would call a bad seed, they just don't have it in them to even get on their knees and repent or to be sorry for anything. Now, there are people that I would think that are bad seeds that would could be very good at manipulation and deception. So perhaps, if this inherently wicked person were putting on a front that they were generous and kind and giving and all this kind of stuff, then it's possible for people to see them, another side of them. But the whole time, the dark side is the dominant side, that, their whole agenda was to gain control over the person or persons.
Right.
I hate to say it
I
that way,
get where you're
really
coming
do,
from.
because I pray for everybody. I want everybody to be good and blessed and happy and to have a good life. But, in my experience, and I've dealt with hundreds and hundreds of people worldwide, and I'm sorry to say I have come across a few people that were just wicked, and they enjoyed being wicked.
Yep, that's not good.
No, not at all. And
Okay,
your
well,
questions are great.
Well, thank you for answering my questions. I know I didn't mean to come across as argumentative. I was just genuinely curious of what you thought in regards to that.
They were great questions, and I appreciate you calling. And God
Okay,
bless
thank you so
my
much.
dear. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Chandra.
Thank you, Jason.
No, it's the same questions I asked, Bill. I mean, she has a good point about it. If
they were great points
God made the devil and devil made these people, well, it's still all from God. It's still all on God's lap. And the way I've always looked at it, just thinking about it, is there was we had the Garden of Eden and Adam and Eve, that story, and the devil had to come in to tempt them, whatever, if it was him having sex with Eve or not, whatever. But God, the devil had to come in. Well, that still comes from God. But the thing is, Adam and Eve, there's no way to know if they'd be good or bad or morally right in the Garden of Eden because they have no cares, no worries, no fear, no death, no nothing.
Yeah.
But to go into the world that we live in, there's a lot to be tested. There's a old guest of Art Bell's that used to be on. She's passed away, and she was a witch. It's Evelyn Pagalini. One of the things she used to say that I loved when it came about magic and what magic was for people is that you don't know what she said. You only know somebody's good until you give them the tools to not, until they have the ability.
Amazing?
Yeah. And I always thought that was such a true statement. If you give the right tools, do we fall into the 7 deadly sins? Fear, gluttony, and now I've lost all the 7 sins out of my head. I'm going to go to hell. But it's like it was Devil's Advocate. That I love that movie because that really plays on that.
Very valid. It's very valid. And see, this is why I believe things are set up in this way based on a man's faith. So the world is full of minefields. And for me, the only way I can navigate through that is by my faith. So I have a real and authentic relationship with God. Doesn't mean I'm better than anybody else. Doesn't mean that my life is perfect. My life is 50 times more blessed than it was ever cursed. I wouldn't trade my life with anybody's life on this planet. I'm very thankful to God. I thank him and praise him for my life every single day when I open my eyes. But that does not mean that I'm perfect. I try to do the best that I can do and be the best that I can be every day of my life. But I'm a human being. We're in a sin-filled world. We fall short. And so this is why, for me, it's so very important for me to have a real and authentic relationship with God, making him first and keeping him first. And then he will help to guide me through these minefields in life. And I have to tell you, without God, I wouldn't even be here on this earth. I'm firmly convinced of that. So I just thank him and praise him for guiding me and for navigating me through the storms of life like we all have. We all have a set of issues and challenges in life. And then when you add to it, these things that are currently taking place in our world, it makes things double tough. But this is where, certainly for me, I have to increase my faith and draw even closer to God, because I know if I do that, he'll draw closer to me.
I was just thinking about, you remember the last time you were on what we were talking about? Jeffrey Epstein. What didn't that news story go away quick?
Well, I mean, again, these things are all designed. And talk about a person that could have brought them all down. He could have brought every one of them down. I knew he wasn't going to be around for long after he was, put in there. I thought his days are numbered for sure. That's right. That story is just gone. And here's another amazing thing. Now, think about this, Jason. He did all these things, and he and his accomplice, that Giselle,
too, but Giselle Maxwell, whatever.
Yeah, Giselle Maxwell.
Yeah.
She's still roaming,
right,
free as a bird. Nothing. Right. You don't hear nothing about her. She's roaming around free as a bird. This woman is responsible for God knows how many that she reeled in to the web of this monster Epstein and all of his other accomplices. So she is someone that should be, if I were the guy in control,
she'd be sitting in a cell. She should definitely be in a cell right now, not just cruising around the world.
If not, gone from capital punishment. So again, there's no talk about her, no talk about Jeffrey Epstein. That's all gone now. So there's no talk about Hillary anymore.
Well, I heard they made a Netflix documentary. They got a Netflix documentary on it, but I heard they mostly try to pin it all, but with his connections to Trump. I'm like, well, I get that, but you're missing a lot of other connections there. I haven't watched it, so I can't say for sure, but that's what somebody told me, and I'm like, well, I'm not interested.
And look, he was a good buddy, and I read, I've dug into and read plenty of things that, yes, they were very closely associated. But him and Bill Clinton and him
Bill Gates.
Yeah, all these people, Prince Andrew, all these types. He was princes and kings and all this this guy was connected with the who's who in the power elite, and they were all in this together, and he could have brought them all down.
The one chance we had to see behind that veil was, I felt like, was Jeffrey Epstein, but I knew we weren't going to. I knew, though, everybody, he was not going to live for us to see behind that veil to get his testimony. And Maxwell, she's just going to keep, I mean, the only time she made a public appearance, which is at a Starbucks or something, and she was sitting there.
I think that was a staged event.
It was a totally staged event. She's holding a book about, what was it, the CIA, or I'm trying to remember the book she was holding, but it was like almost a warning.
Something along those lines, yeah.
It's like she's warning them.
Along those lines, yep. And so again, where is this person? Is she in protective custody from the Illuminati, or is she, she's certainly not in jail, that's for sure. So I just find it hard to believe that she's on the run, running for her life. So somebody's protecting her.
Well, I think she's protecting herself with the information she has. I think that's what that stage thing was her warning people, warning the CIA.
Point.
Yeah. Because what did I say? The CIA is behind a lot of this satanic cult stuff in Hollywood and that stuff.
Yeah.
And her father was Mossad. That's not conspiracy theory. That is actually fact. Her father was Mossad, and they say that she's Mossad, and her and working with the CIA as well to basically control people through using them, giving them what they want, horrible sex acts, and basically taping them. We got, let's see how much time we got. We got about 10 minutes. So we got another phone call here. We got 870 area code. Who do we got?
We got Lynn Dorman from Star City, Arkansas.
Hi, Lynn. How you doing? Thanks for calling in.
Hey, I've listened to your show for a time. I've never called in before. I enjoy your show, and I'm rather enjoying this guest. And I have a question for Bill Bean.
Go for it.
Hi, Lynn.
All right.
Calling in.
Thank you for being a guest and being so informative. I've taught down here. I live in the Bible Belt.
Okay.
Down here in Arkansas, there's people, I got a neighbor who thinks I speak to demons because I'm a ghost hunter. What is your feeling? What is your feeling on ghosts?
Yeah. I'm glad.
How do you explain them?
Okay, so my best guess on this, and again, God has not told me this, so I'd be a liar if I said, oh, God explained all this to me. It's not true. So I have to give my best guess on this, and based on my experience as a spiritual warrior, I feel that the ghostly phenomenon, and we have to be very careful here because it is a slippery slope in the sense that there are demons out there that are familiar spirits that can mimic a long-lost loved one or give the apparition of a little boy or a little girl. They can do it. And I've seen it many times in many cases. However, there are cases to where there seems to be, and maybe this is the best way to explain it. And again, do I have the concrete answer? No, but this is my best guess on it. Perhaps when the soul departs a body, that soul, in my opinion, is either going to go to heaven or hell. That's in God's hands, and that's for his judgment. However, when the soul departs, I think there is something else there. And I call it a life essence. And I think that the life essence remains. It doesn't remain in the body, but so the soul goes up, and then it's up to God to send the soul down. And I think this life essence remains on the earth. And if that's the case, then perhaps this is how a ghostly manifestation can occur through the life essence, which could come through this ectoplasm, which would be the substance to make it visible. And also some other cases that seem to happen in the same way, they repeat in the same manner over and over and over again. Yeah, it's a residual thing, and perhaps the life essence has gotten into some type of time loop to where at the same time, in the same spot, this will occur with a manifestation of something or something supernatural taking place, in that time frame. So I think my best guess on this would be that there is a life essence that is left on the earth. And again, is it a life essence that turns into manifestation, contact in some kind of way, or is it this residual looping over and over and over again? So that's my best guess on it.
Okay, let me tell you my point of view, and then we can discuss it. I have found, in my theory, talking to preachers, that nobody is going to heaven yet. This is the way we're taught down here in Arkansas. Everybody just kind of goes to rest, to sleep. And nobody goes to heaven or hell until the trumpet sound, and everybody goes. So first the dead rise, and then the living, or whatever you want to call it,
right,
leave their souls, leave their bodies, and they go to heaven or sent to hell.
Yeah, I'm aware of it.
My thinking is a point you brought up earlier: free will.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's spirits who, for evil reasons or good reasons, or just because they want to see what's going on, they choose not to lay down and basically go to sleep. They tend to roam the world.
Or go to the light later.
And this will explain what people see.
You could be right, bro.
It's just somebody with
could be. I can't say you're wrong.
And they've got the willpower to say, I've never been to Paris in my life. I want to go see Paris. So they roam over to Paris. Yeah, I want to see my grandkids grow up. So they stick around and peek in the house and watch your grandkids grow up. That's what we find sometimes is ghosts.
Or there's no bars in heaven, so I'm gonna stick around here.
Oh my goodness! Now we'll say this. Now here's why, and I'm glad you brought this up, Lynn. Here's why I believe that when a person dies, they just don't lay in the ground. Because when a person dies, they become 21 grams lighter, and that is the soul departing from the body. So that said, it doesn't mean that what you're saying is not true, that perhaps they have a way of kind of sticking around, and maybe it is through that free will. And maybe, when the body becomes 21 grams lighter and the soul goes up or whatever, then maybe the person could choose to come back. I don't know. That's out of my realm of understanding. It's beyond my understanding, and I don't pretend to know that for sure. But what you're saying is plausible, and it certainly is possible in my mind.
Well, I have done, if anybody has ever heard of Baxter's Grove Cemetery,
been there,
and just south of Chicago.
Yes.
I had done extensive research there when I lived up in there. I just live in Arkansas. I lived here for 4 years. I lived in Chicago for 14. And by the way, the accent everybody's talking about, I'm from Georgia. This is a Georgia accent. I sound different than Arkansans. It's not Arkansan accent, it's a Georgian accent. Anyway, one of the greatest hauntings there was Dale Kazmarik's photo and Judy Huff of the lady on the stone from Madonna Baxter's Grove.
Photo. Yes.
I actually found out who that is and why they went to Baxter's Grove. Her firstborn child is buried in Baxter's Grove and still is. Never got exhumed and moved to another cemetery. So every evening she came over there to visit and spend time with the spirit of her firstborn, which died at 11 months and 4 days old. Try to pull that out of memory.
Yeah.
And the child has actually learned to speak and has now learned to move around on her own because she visited my house on several occasions.
So the spirit of this 1 week old child, you're saying it is like followed you?
And some people down here say, you go to sleep, you have no choice. The deal was with the body, the real body. And I say, no, God created us in his image. God does not look like you with your goatee or me with my goatee or somebody with a female with long hair, or a man with this bald. He just not create. That's not our image. We're a container. Our image is a spiritual being, just like God is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the deal where free will comes from. It's not the body. The body dies and decomposes. We have no choice. But the soul lives on as an unincorporated being, like God. And if you go to heaven, you're in the presence of at least Jesus Christ if you're a Christian. I'm also taught the Jews are God's people, and they go through God to heaven.
Mm-hmm.
They have a free pass, basically. Christians have to go through Jesus Christ. And that's the way I'm taught.
Mm-hmm.
And I think free will is what causes ghosts.
It is possible, my brother. I can't refute it. I can't.
We won't know until we die.
One way or the other.
We'll get the answer.
We'll know for sure when that time comes. But I mean, he definitely bringing up good points, and I can't dispute it. But again, what I can say is that we have to be very careful, because the devil, his demons, they mimic the spirits, and they are familiar spirits, and they could take the shape and the form, and then all of a sudden, if a person by their free will goes along with that and falls into that trap, then they're going to have major problems. And I have, by the power of God working through me, helped many people who were ghost hunters and fell into traps like that, and their lives became a living hell.
Well, we got to go to commercial.
Mine has not. I love my life. I've been happily married now for over 18 years. I'm like you. I would not trade my life for anything. I'm madly in love with my wife. My wife is madly in love with me. We have a great life down here in Arkansas.
And God bless you and your wife and your family. And you brought up some great questions and points, that's for sure.
Lynn, I hate to let you go. We got to go to commercial break. Thank you so much for calling in.
It's a pleasure talking to you. Thanks for calling. Let me call in.
Thank you for calling, first time caller. All right, guys, we got to go to commercial break here. When we get back, we're going to still have the phone lines open. You can call in, join this great conversation with our guest, spiritual warrior Bill Bean, and talk more about this. I want to talk about, too, we talk about the spirits and all that stuff. Some of the in Hollywood, not just the satanic stuff, but you see some of these artists talk about being indwelled and like basically becoming a different person. What is the plan that's happening? We talk about transhumanism. Is the whole plan to let something else into us, like a demon? Because you wonder. We talked about the guy eating his own grandmother on the flocka or whatever he was taking. It seems like there's something evil trying to take over people's bodies when it comes to possession. What is that? We'll get into that maybe when we come back to this commercial break, and we'll take your phone calls. All right, guys, we'll be right back.
Intercepted a transmission of unknown origin.
Transmission? Out here?
SOS.
Human.
Unknown.
Alien. Certificate X. Exclusive engagement at the Odeon Leicester Square. Now.
Any systematized transmission indicating a possible intelligent origin must be investigated.
In space, no one can hear you scream.
The international chart-topping Haunted Horror of Haverfordwest has been described as terrifyingly real, a must-read, shocking and chilling brilliance, genuinely worrying, utterly frightening. Don't read before bed. Described as one of the spookiest writers out there, best-selling author G.L. Davies presents Haunted Horror of Haverfordwest, the true paranormal account that is shocking the world. Dare you enter? Dare you read? Haunted Horror of Haverfordwest is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, and wherever books are sold. Pray you never have to live there.
Phantasm, the film that puts the fun in funeral. And as for a fiendish story, it does have a burial plot. Come prepared to scream, because if this one doesn't scare you, you're already dead. Phantasm from Avco Embassy Pictures. Rated R under 17, not admitted without parent.
Join us every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time for Weird Wednesday, the live stream, with your hosts Jamie, the Living Dead Girl, and Rob, the Phantom, where we'll talk about all things paranormal, including zodiac, astrology, tarot card and oracle card readings, live ghost boxing and spirit communication, where we'll do Voices from Beyond, the Cold Case Files. So we hope you join us live on Facebook and YouTube every Wednesday night at midnight Eastern Standard Time. We hope to see you there. Bye-bye.
This fall, a new hard-hitting police drama is coming to Friday night. He was a well-to-do cop transferred to a troubled precinct downtown. His new partner is a space traveler with a passion for justice. It's Yuppie and the Alien.
Look, you might vaporize dissidents in Alpha Centauri, but in this precinct, we do it by the book.
I'm so terribly sorry, Captain.
Goog, I'm sorry. Don't miss this one-of-a-kind police drama. They're fighting crime the hard way, in designer clothes, with $250,000 sports car and a UFO.
Partner, let's go cruise in the car and look moody.
One tough downtown precinct, two outsiders doing things their way. Yuppie and the Alien on VBC.
If you are interested in discovering the truth about the paranormal and want to hear from leading researchers in the field, join Justin Brown on his 3 weekly shows named My Paranormal Soapbox, Necromancer Live Show, and the Supernatural Symposium, live on Facebook, YouTube, and interfacediv.net.
The night is alive. Join us and take a walk on the weird side when you tune in to the Kingdom of Nye, hosted by Heather Wade, the finest in late night talk. Listen live free weeknights starting at 9 p.m. Pacific time at thekingdomofnye.com, talkstreamlive.com, and the Paranormal Radio app. Wanna take a ride?
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from Talkstream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Heat 'em up. Do, re, be gone.
Tonight, our guest is Bill Bean for this last half hour. We've still got the phone lines open. I got somebody waiting on hold right now. We'll get to your call in just a couple minutes here. I've seen the chat room, and a lot of questions there. I've seen one of the ones is about what his thoughts are on mediums. We'll get to that. And I don't know, the medium suicide. I'm trying to read the chat room. It's going by so fast. Maybe his comments on what he thinks happened to suicide. I don't know. I think Bill's an honest person. That's why I like him. He has his religious faith, but he doesn't tell you things or say he knows everything that's going on in the world, or he has a same questions I do, same questions you do. He's out here just experiencing it. You can have your faith, but still question what's going on and not act like you know everything. There's a lot of mystery out there, and none of us know any of the answers. But the phone lines are open. The two lines you can call in now are 219-230-4444 or Skype ID OOJBland00. We do have somebody on hold, so if you call in, I'll hang up on you until we get this person on the phone. But let's go ahead and get back to our guest. You still there with me, Bill?
Still with you, brother.
I saw questions about what your thoughts are on mediums. We're bringing up, people being ghost hunters and that. And I know you've probably talked about it on the show before. Because I have friends that are mediums. I've had my own mediumist psychic experiences myself. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts are is that God gives us all gifts, and I feel that those gifts are under prophetic gifts from God. And I think that people who have those gifts, if they are acknowledging that it is coming from God and not themselves and not pumping themselves up and being full of themselves, that they're the power and they're the greatest thing going, and they have something extraordinary by their own accord. If the person is thankful for their gifts and has a heart and a spirit that they want to help people and truly help people and want to truly have a desire to help people, praise God. It's a gift. It's a wonderful blessing. And just like anything in life, if the person becomes self-absorbed and they feel that it is all their own and that they are something spectacular, and they're setting themselves up for disaster.
That's what I've always thought about mediums. Most of the mediums I know, I'm friends with, all say they're gifts from God. That it's not their power; it's coming from God, or from the Spirit.
Praise God. That's wonderful, and I think that God gives gifts to everyone, and certain people are assigned certain gifts for certain reasons.
We got somebody waiting on hold here. We got 858 area code. Who do we got?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, this is Laura Wolf calling in from Phoenix, Arizona. How are you?
Doing good. Thank you for calling in.
Hi, I was wondering what Mr. Bean's personal thoughts on suicide are.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're that one in the chat room. Okay, that's trying to read the chat room comments. Your guys' questions. So thank you for calling in. Go ahead, Bill.
And
you're welcome.
This is Laurie.
Laura.
Did I hear your name?
Laura.
Okay. Thank you for calling in, Laura. And thank you for your question. My thoughts are this, that suicide is a mortal sin. It is, and I know how difficult it is. Believe me, I've had, when I was a young man, in my teenage years, going into my adult years, I suffered from horrific depression. And so I understand what it's like to have that level of depression. I also lived my life on the edge, that I wouldn't slit my wrist or take pills or anything like that, but I sure was hoping that somebody would come and kill me, or I'd die in a car crash or something like that. I was seeking death, and God kept it from me, and I thank Him and praise Him for it, because again, He's blessed my life 50 times more than it's ever been cursed. So same thing for a person that is suicidal and that wants to go that route. It's a mortal sin. And I always pray for a person that, because I have been involved in some situations to where people I knew, and this happened recently with a friend that did commit suicide. And I pray that God has mercy on their soul. Now, it is said that, when a person does this, that they're hellbound, that because they have taken life to where we're not supposed to do that. It's in God's hands to take our lives when He's ready for that to happen. But I pray for that person just the same, and pray that God has mercy on their soul and will forgive and lift their soul into His heavenly kingdom. So that's my approach and my take and thoughts about it and on it.
Okay, are you aware that this has been proven by science? Dr. Mark Pitstick, Dr. Gary Schwartz, Dr. Raymond Moody, that it is in some souls, individual soul planning, that this was a definitive exit point to transition by suicide. Also, committing suicide is not the politically correct term. It is completed suicide.
Well, I would have to disagree, with them, and they're certainly entitled to their opinions, but, I wouldn't be in agreement with them on it.
Well, I hope one day you are enlightened by the real truth of God, because God is love.
Yes, but is it true that that it's okay for a person to take their life, and when it is not their life?
Yes,
God
yes,
gave
it
us
is.
life. God gave
Yes,
us
it
a
is.
soul.
It is based on their intention, their soul's intention, and whether or not this was a definitive exit point. We all have at least 5 exit points throughout our life. This is called soul planning.
Well, I would pray that God would have mercy on their soul, because He is the one in charge of the soul.
Are you aware? Are you aware that the Catholic Church, threw out the thought that suicide was a sin over 2 decades ago? Are you up to date with your own religion?
Yeah, he's not a Catholic,
I'm not a denomination. I'm not Catholic, so
it's just his opinion.
Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
I've gone to a non-denominational church as well, The Rock in San Diego.
Yeah, I follow God. I don't follow. There's 34,000 Christian denominations in the world, 1,200 in the United States.
Okay, but all gods, whether that be Allah, Yahweh, Jesus Christ, they are all, even Muhammad, they are all love.
Well, and that's fine, but
again, I've also had a near-death experience, so I have crossed the veil. I have experienced
praise
it.
God. I'm glad that you've had these experiences.
And there is absolutely no judgment. If any person completes suicide, not just an attempt, but complete suicide in transition, they are then grabbed by the hand by love, and there is absolutely no judgment at all. There is no punishment.
Okay, Laura.
That God understands that they were suffering so much that they had to cross over. They had to take one of their exit points. And this is all planned out with pre-birth planning before we're even born, before their parents are even born.
All right, let me interject here. I'm with you, Laura. I don't believe people who commit suicide go to hell. I don't, but I don't have any solid belief. You know why? Because none of us know. In the end, you can have your perspectives, you can have your experiences, and you go by, and that's great. And that's good. But Bill has his own perspective and his own experiences. You asked his opinion and he gave it. And you might not agree with yours. You might, but we all have our differences. I don't agree with Bill of everything he says at all. I respect.
And I'm not pro suicide. I'm not saying everyone go and kill themselves.
No.
I'm just saying it is individual. You cannot make a blanket statement that says they are in hell, they sinned, it is a mortal sin. It is individual to each person's soul and their soul's planning. Our entire lives are all mapped out for us long before their parents are even born.
So our life is mapped out, so therefore we have no freedom to make choices because everything's all mapped out.
That'd be the predestination.
The only free will we have in every single choice that we make is to choose love or fear. That is the only free will choice we have in every single action we make. Yes.
Okay.
It is. It is. And you will see once you access your Akashic records and have your own life review.
Again, go ahead, Bill.
No, well, I mean, I certainly agree to disagree with her, but I don't, I wish her well, and she's certainly entitled to her opinions and beliefs. And, that's just not a part of my belief system. And whether it's wrong or right, I just don't, because again, I believe God gave us all free will. So if we were following that system, there means there's no free will at all, that everything was mapped out and the only choices you have is love or fear. So that means you don't have any free will in anything. And this was already predetermined. And so you're just a player in the game, and you will do as it was predetermined for you to do.
Again, I think this is the big mystery. It's been contemplated for thousands of years. by many people, and nobody still
I don't pretend
knows.
to know
Right.
all the answers.
Exactly.
Not at all. I mean, I'd be a liar if I
to
said I knew.
everything. You view astrology, everything is all mapped out for us. If you view numerology, everything is all mapped out for us. There is a code. It is all predetermined. This is called pre-birth planning.
Well, and Laura, that is your belief, and that's great. And Bill has his belief, and I have my agnostic belief, where I question both of you. But I'm saying that's the thing. We don't know. But I totally understand where you're coming from, Laura, on it, because I'm not one who ever. I don't accept the belief that God would totally damn somebody for killing themselves. But at the same time, I also think it's the wrong choice. That's just my personal opinion. And I've been somebody who suffered deep depression.
It is the wrong choice for someone who, is 5 years old, gets bullied once in school, comes home and shoots their head off. That is the wrong choice. However,
it's the wrong choice for somebody I know who was a father.
Obstacles mapped up until that 5-year-old.
I'll tell you what, who is the wrong choice for, Laura. I'll tell you it's the wrong choice for a father who kills himself, who has children he's leaving behind when he does that. I know that from personal family. That is the wrong choice. There are wrong choices. People make wrong choices. It's life. And I think that's what this is all about, is what choices you make. But I also don't believe people are eternally damned for making the wrong choice either. I think it's all about learning. And I think you have part of that concept right there in what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But
now my own son transitioned by suicide. I know he is no longer in pain. I know he's in the light. He's in what you call heaven. I call it the afterlife. I am a medium. And I can speak with him as well.
And we talked about
he had a near-death experience 4 years before he passed. And he was actually told what was left in his life planning, in his soul planning, what he needed to complete before his suicide could be completed.
Well, I see a lot of people out there that have these experiences with the loved ones that have committed suicide, and in communicating with them afterwards, that makes me believe that they don't go to hell or are damned. But like I said, everybody's got their different opinions, and we can agree to disagree. That's what this show is about. We're all have different opinions. I don't agree with definitely a lot of my guests on stuff, but I'm here to talk, and discuss those different views. And I thank you, Laura, for calling in and sharing with us tonight.
Yeah, thank you, Laura.
You're welcome.
To you.
All right, bye-bye.
And again, look, we're free to express our opinions and our beliefs. I don't pretend to know it all. God has not told all of it to me or shared it with me. He shared a lot with me, and I could thank him and praise him for blessing me with the wisdom and knowledge that he has. But I don't, for 1 second, pretend to say, I know it all. I know everything about everything, and that makes me an expert about everything. That's a lie. That's not true.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what I love about you. You don't only a Star Wars reference here. Only the Sith deal in absolutes.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So we just have to be real, and that's what I try to do. I just try to keep it real, and I certainly love people and compassionate to people. I'm very sorry about her son, and I'm not saying that her son went to hell because he committed suicide. That's in God's hands. That's in His control. But I totally disagree with having a predetermined life, and that you come in and it's all mapped out for you. And so that means, we don't have to do anything other than just follow the script.
Right. I've never agreed with that one.
With that.
I had a guest on, and he was a good guy. Gary Williams, a psychic, who would see the future, and do readings on that. And he was in the ultimate belief that we're predestined from his experiences. I disagree with that. And I've had my own psychic experience of seeing the future, but still didn't make me believe that we were predestined. I mean, what would be the point of anything if we're just playing out a script? If we had no choice or free will, we're going to always make the choice that's predestined for us.
Right,
what would be the point? It made no sense
free
to me.
Will, Jason.
Yeah.
There'd be no free will at all. We'd just be like robots. It would all be predetermined. So we might as well just be robots.
But I do agree with Laura on the idea that, that some of this is pre-planned out, but not like it's a predestination. Is that,
it could be like a navigation device.
Right.
That there could
many
be
different
something,
roads
but then again, our free will comes in, and we're going to choose by our free will, which way we're going to go. And then if we do that, then the navigation changes its coordinates again for a whole new set of choices.
Right. Right, exactly. There's, speaking of suicide, I bring this movie up a lot. I can't help it because this movie that wasn't a great movie, but it fascinated me in concept was The Discovery with Robert Redford. That was on Netflix. And in that, they discovered that the afterlife is real. He's able to scientifically prove it. And what do a bunch of people do? They start committing suicide in the movie.
Wow.
A little over the top, definitely over the top idea. I don't think that's what would happen. But what they end up discovering beyond that the people don't know is when they die, they end up going to a different timeline, basically a parallel universe where they left off on some choice that they'd made it. And now they made a different choice. And I always thought that's
interesting.
It is. Who knows what holds in reality, what it means to have free will or choices. But the one thing I do think is we do have choices. There would be no point if there was it was all just predestined script that we were all going to do this. That's why I don't think psychics and mediums can get everything right. Because as Yoda would say, another Star Wars quote, the future is always in motion.
It's true. It's absolutely true. So therefore, if it's always on the move and always in motion, there. Sometimes you're going to miss things, and something is past, and so there can't be 100% accuracy in any of those things.
Yeah,
but they are gifts from God, just the same, and I do believe that. I thank God and praise God for that. But I agree with you 100%.
One of the subjects here that we've not even touched upon in this idea, I don't know where this holds for you, but what she's pointing out too in that call, which was a great call, by the way, Laura, thank you, is that that we live multiple lives. Now, I am a person, Bill, that does believe in that, just from my own personal experiences and things that have happened to me, that I've lived other lives. What is your thought on that?
Well, it's possible. Again, I don't pretend to understand it because I don't have any true understanding of it. Perhaps. And again, this is just purely speculation. Maybe God does do something like that. I don't know. Biblically, we're told that we only have one life, and that's it. And then it's up to God to determine where we're going to go for eternity. But if that is not right, then I guess it would be possible or plausible that God would send the person back into another body or another life. I'm not one to say that it's not possible, but I don't understand it, and I don't pretend to understand it. So, but I could be flexible to the point to where I could see how it may be possible, because God can make anything possible. He can do whatever he wants to do. Is it something to where, if the person made mistakes in their lifetime or whatever, does instead of sending the person to hell, does God send the person back in to the world in another form to somehow try and right that? Or I just don't know. I don't have the answers on it, but I'm open to the possibilities.
I have to disagree with a person in the chat room. Paul there said Yoda never said that. Yes, he did. Empire Strikes Back, Dagobah to Luke when Luke wants to leave because he sees the vision of his Han and Leia being captured by Darth Vader. Go watch the movie again. Thank you. Empire Strikes Back. Don't test me on Star Wars. We got one more person. I got to take a call here. We got 617 area code. Who do we got?
Hey guys, it's Paul.
Hi, Paul. Thanks for calling in.
When did he say that on the Dagobah system? Because I don't believe he said that actual line.
Yes, the future is always in motion. He says that when Luke is, telling him that he's got to go to save his friends in Cloud City. Go watch it.
Is that when Luke says, "I don't believe," and that's when he says, "And that's why you fail."
That part is in there too. That's when he's talking about. That's when he's talking about moving the ship. That's the part when he's talking about the ship. The future's always in motion is when Luke is trying to leave.
He brought the ship out. And so what I like to think about is that's belief. And that can be belief in God or whatever God you guys are talking about. But belief is all you have.
Well, true.
Yes,
That's
no?
very true. I mean, your belief shapes your perspective.
It does. And people get really agitated and really aggressive about beliefs.
Yes.
And, I believe in certain things. What I believe in first is honesty and truth and love. And I look at it every day.
Good things to believe in.
Yeah.
Is that Mr. Billy Bean?
Yes, Billy. Yes.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm so inclined to ask you how the Oakland A's are doing, but I know you're not that Billy Bean. But
yeah, not that guy. Yeah.
I'm sorry, sir. I but I was raised in Boston, maybe as a Catholic, but one day my father died, and I was raised in the church, right? But we didn't go back to church after my father died, because there is no God when you take away somebody like that from a small family, things like that. But you know what? I believe in love, trust, and honesty. You know?
Well, and that's good. And I hope someday for you that you'll come back to God before you leave this planet. And I'm sorry
Who's
that
God?
happened to your dad. Well, I'm sorry that happened to your dad. And look, both of my parents were gone. Neither one lived to see the age of 50. And so I understand what it's like to have tragedy. As a matter of fact, most of my family is gone due to tragedy. So I understand that.
Which God are you talking about?
I'm talking about the God of the universe, the creator of everything. His name's Yahweh. And his son is Yeshua, which is the Hebrew name for Jesus, which means Yahweh saves. Yahweh saves through him. His name was listed 6,823 times in the Bible and replaced with the title of Lord.
Are you Jewish? Are you Jewish, sir?
No.
Oh, you're not?
But I do. No, non-denomination. But I do, and people do ask me that all the time. Am I Jewish? Because I say the name of God, which is Yahweh, and I use Jesus' Hebrew name as well. So people do ask me that. And I guess in a sense I am for using the holy name of God, which he wants us to, and most people don't understand that. And so for me, and
I'm just saying, I converted to be a Jew. So
okay,
and that's what I celebrate, because my Jewish friends and family, they actually celebrate correct. You know, that's where I found love.
Yeah, so you celebrate the feast and things of that nature, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so praise God. Good for you. And may God bless you and your family. And I'm sorry that happened with your dad. Believe me, I understand.
No, you know what? That bettered my life.
Yeah. And good for you that you have the perspective of being in the positive. And no matter what happens, you're going to remain in the positive. That's a wonderful, blessed way to be. And you're keeping yourself on high frequency and high vibration by doing so.
What's high vibration?
Yeah, so all life operates on frequency and vibration. So if we are on high, life is good, life is positive, we're moving forward. But if we're on low, life is terrible. And it's like the person has a black cloud over their head. Nothing ever goes right. There's always a problem, always a situation, and a drama, and never an answer. And so this is why our world is in the shape that it's in right now, because the devil's pulling everybody down on low frequency, low vibration.
You believe that the devil is the purpose of depression?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he can come in, and now that's not to say that there aren't chemical imbalances in a person's brain that could cause some symptoms of depression or some forms of mental illness, of course. However, there is a fine line between those things and a demonic attack that can really affect the brain and the mind.
My personal experience with my shadow person experience, call it demonic or what, its whole purpose was to put me in an absolute state of depression, make me suicidal, or make me be harmful to others. I felt that was its whole point.
Absolutely.
When you felt like you were going to be harmful to others, did you talk about that?
No, that's the thing. I felt like if I told anybody what was going on, I was going to be locked away. And that's how some of these things, I think, went over people, because they have no one to talk to or turn to. I had my mom, but I felt like I couldn't even tell her what was going on. That's why I got into this.
Absolutely. So thankful to God that I'm in the position to where I can't tell you how many times people have contacted me for help when they were ready to commit suicide, and God worked through me to save them. And I praise God for it. One call I'll never forget, probably 5 or 6 years ago. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and this guy had messaged me, and was saying goodbye and thank you and this and that. I said, well, where are you going? And he said, he's going to end it all. I said, look, here's my number. Call me right now. And the guy calls me, and we start praying. He's crying. He's inconsolable. And his girlfriend had recently died, so he wanted to commit suicide and join her. And I started praying. And boy, let me tell you, when you're holding somebody's life in your hands like that, it's very fragile. And I prayed that God would give me a word to say to him.
It's amazing.
And
people need people need human. Sorry, sir. People need human touch, no matter what you believe in.
Oh yeah.
You need to be able to reach out to somebody, even somebody who doesn't have your same beliefs, even somebody that has nothing to do with you. If you reach out and say, "I'll listen to you, I'll talk to you," that's God's work.
Oh, that I agree. Yeah.
And in that case, I said, God gave me a word to give to him. And when I did that, it changed everything. He stopped crying, and he had a total change. And then I heard this clunk. He said, okay, I just put the gun down. He was going to shoot himself in the head while talking with me.
Oh, my God.
And so I'm happy to say he's still with us, and he's still doing very well. And I praise God for working through me to bring him back from the edge of suicide.
We're about at the end of the show.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for calling in.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for hearing me.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you again, man. Call in again
sometime. You know, I love you all, even though I don't have the same beliefs as you. I love you all.
I love you too, man.
God bless you guys.
That's why I do the show, is that we can talk about things. We can all have different perspectives and different beliefs and be open to talk about it. You know, that's what we need more of in life. That's what we need more of in this world right now, right? It's not somebody butthurt feelings.
I can't force anybody, right, Jason, I can't force anybody to believe like I believe or to do as I do, nor do I want to. That would be going against free will. So all I can do is just try and be an example to people and be there to help people as I can when I can.
Well, as I said at the towards the beginning of the show, is peace is every step. If you want peace, then you need to take the steps for it. That's all you can control. That's all you can do.
Mm-hmm.
You can't control what other people do. Why? Well, free will.
Exactly right.
Well,
and I want to thank you, brother, for having me back. It's been a real pleasure, and look forward to, hopefully we'll do it again soon.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure there's going to be more. 2020 still got a number of months to go. We're going to have a lot more to talk about.
That's for sure.
Just think, a few months ago, we were talking about Jeffrey Epstein. It was the big story, and it's totally gone. Like all the things that have happened since you've been on.
That's long gone now. Yeah. And I got a feeling the next time I'm back on the show, what we're talking about now will be replaced with a whole new set of issues as well.
Yep. That's how it goes. That's the world we live in now. That's the new normal. Well, thank you, Bill. Your newest book, it's called The Seventh Book.
Yes, the 7th book, and it's available. If you don't see it on my website, BillJBean.com, just send me an email and I'll send you a free PDF copy.
Oh, yeah. I definitely want to read it. Thank you so much, Bill, and definitely can't wait to get you on again. Thanks to everybody who called in tonight. This is what it's about, guys. You know, we hear different opinions, different beliefs. We can openly share and talk about those. There's no reason to judge somebody or not talk to somebody because they don't share the same beliefs as you. It's time, you know, this is where we come to listen and learn and understand other people's perspectives, what it's like to live in other people's shoes and their beliefs. That's how I've always lived my life, and I try to hope other people will too. Maybe that's what we need more of in this world, right? Well, next Sunday, if you are interested in the idea of astral travel, we're going to have Marilyn Hughes on. I cannot wait. I've been waiting for this guest for a long time. Talk about out-of-body experiences, astral travel. You know, I'd like to astrally travel to another planet right now, but maybe she can teach us how to do that. But we'll be back next Sunday, same bad time, same bad channel, 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. Central, 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. Eastern, and then or 2 a.m. Eastern, sorry, and then 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. Pacific time. I'm so tired. I'm getting the time drawn. And don't forget, you can always email me at paranormalsoupjbland@gmail.com, or help us out. Share the show. All the people share the show. Thank you so much. And you can also donate $2 a month on Patreon to help pay the cost of the show. That does help. But everybody who shares the show, that's the biggest help out there. Thank you so much, guys, and we will see you next Sunday.